cannot give you back your homes or restore your dead to life.
But perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast that drinks and knows things. I am Luke, and we are here talking about our episode entitled Toasted Crab Cakes. What else do I have to say? Other things.
Or crab dip, too.
Or crab dip, toasted crab dip. Yeah, we are recording on today, 9/9/22, and this is our episode covering House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 3, Second of His Name. I am joined via the interwebs by Sly of House McLean. How are you, Benj?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing pretty well. What you got drinking there tonight? Anything exciting?
Actually, you know this one very well. It is Steampunk Brewworks
Oh,
cream ale. I was supposed to drink this Sunday morning with my younger brother there, and ended up not getting the chance to. Had to leave our little camp out early, so I'm having it tonight.
yeah.
So.
Enjoy your cream punk is what it's called.
Yep.
So pretty cool
Cream
can
punk.
for sure.
Yes.
Pretty cool can. I am joined in studio by Gertie of House Condescension. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Yeah, you sound delightful.
Sound as good as I feel.
Yeah, you sound like about $5.
No giggles tonight.
Sorry. Hey, all right, no jokes. Abby will literally pop up along.
It's
fun.
going to be a very serious episode.
No fun. Straight face.
Zero
No
fun.
No fun.
I apologize about the voice. I am drinking
Perfect episode for that.
my pain away with some whiskey and Coke. And I also have a sippin' pretty, but we're going to call it the spittin' pretty cup. So,
All right. Well, hopefully you can endure and not laugh at any of the jokes that may or may not
it'll
be
just
funny.
be really boring tonight, you guys.
Someone who has said a joke before is joining us also in studio. Glenn.
I've told one joke in my
He's
life.
told a joke before. I was there for it. It was pretty good.
It was a good one.
Welcome back. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm just running down the dream.
You would. And what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking
A Piss Light.
Piss Light.
Gotta love it. Well, thanks everyone for being here. We have an episode to talk about. I will not put a descriptor on it. I'll just say it was an episode. If you are new here and you are listening either on podcast or on YouTube, watching us live, thanks for being here. If your first time here, please hit that subscription button on whichever device you're using. Give us a like and a rating, and we would really appreciate if you took all of your friends' devices and did the same thing on their devices as well. If you have kids, subscribe to them as well. Your grandparents, take their phones and iPads, subscribe on theirs as well.
Is that a Patreon thing? You can take their debit card and...
Yeah, use
Yeah.
theirs, and then
Put their
just the
information in
highest
there.
tier that you can get on there. We actually just got a issue with Patreon, so we'll have to figure that out. We've been suspended for some reason. I have no idea why, but we'll still pump that. Hey, check us out whenever you can at patreon.com/stayimaginary. That's a really great way to support us when Patreon's not kicking us off there for literally we have no idea why. We're working on it. Let's get into this episode, right? And this episode was 1 hour and 3 minutes. It was aired on September 4th, 2022. It was directed by Greg Yatanis, written by Ryan Condal and Gabe Francesca. Benj, hit us up with that first opening credit scene.
So the opening credits, I figured because there was a new thing that I've never seen in the show before, at least in Game of Thrones or anything. It had top billed Patty, Matt, and Reese, and then it said and. So it had Patty Constantine, Matt Smith, and Reese Ifez, and then it continued on. Then it said and da 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 da. So I'm counting all three of them as top billed for this episode. You know, I figure if you throw an and in there,
Why not?
you want these three to be known as, this is their episode. So
Cool.
just something I don't remember seeing it from Game of Thrones if they ever had an and in any of them.
I feel like they had a with, like at the very end of one of them at one point. I don't know if it was
Possibly.
Swearengen's episode or not, but Swearengen.
I like how you ever see like
I was thinking of something completely different.
shows that'll do like, and whatever that guy's name
with
is,
Danny DeVito.
or with Danny DeVito as Frank Reynolds.
Right. Yeah.
And Dana Carvey featuring Mike Myers.
As somebody or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. No,
I'm just probably.
I'm saying
making
I
shit
want to
up.
see a show. I want to see a show with that where it says, starring Ryan Reynolds and Danny DeVito with Max Freeman, also including and featuring,
Just
basically
go through like, all of them.
yeah,
And at the end just says,
all the synonyms of and are
and then at the very end they just have without Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah.
So there you go. A little bit different on this one.
Yeah.
First scene. Take it away,
Ben.
Benj.
First scene: Prince Drahar is ran into the caves by a dragon and its rider.
All right. Benj, I'm going to jump to you first on this one, on your kind of thoughts here.
Well, that's easy because I don't really have a note. It's like one of the few. I mean, it was an opening scene. It was interesting seeing Daemon getting pushed back and like the dragons not being the greatest force, kind of thing. So it was an interesting dynamic there where it's not just nuclear bomb going off. Like everybody's always said it's the end all be all weapon. And they can be beaten or they can be at least defended against. So it was just a new thing we haven't seen really in the past.
Sure. Glenn, looks like you have something kind of in that as well.
In that realm.
In that realm.
So yeah, I had a note that says, well, this poor bastard that's getting nailed to the pole by Prince Drahar. I just feel bad for him or whatever, but like he thinks that Daemon and Xerxes are gonna come in for the save and kind of like a Deus Ex Machina type situation, but I don't think Daemon's really gives a shit, and like the collateral damage from this guy's prevalent whenever the dragon steps on him. So
right.
I think all bets are off at that point where Daemon really doesn't give a shit about, trying to save as many guys or whatever. It's more about, the glory, I think.
It really seems like the ends will justify the means. It's not about being a great leader. It's not about having your guys follow you just because they respect you. It's about leading with an iron fist for him.
That guy was like excited. He's like, "Oh, thank God! Like our savior has come, and he's gonna, kick your ass."
Right? He's like, "Yeah, you're screwed. They're gonna kill you." And now I'm collateral damage.
No, you're screwed.
No, you're screwed. It looks like both Abby and I have kind of visual things on this scene.
Yes.
Since we're talking about the dragon, I'll just jump on that. Caraxes, they call him the bloodworm. They really seem like they leaned into that visually for him with how slender his body is compared to like the Drogons of the world and all the other larger dragons that are kind of beefier in the body. right? This one's very much. It looks like a
pencil.
bloodworm. Like you get it, and I don't know. I like that they actually went with. I don't even know if they've said that necessarily in the show. I don't think they've even stated that, but that's the nickname of Caraxes, and I just like that they took that into account visually.
I just
And they did.
Sorry, go ahead, Benj.
Oh, I was just gonna say they haven't mentioned either, but like he's the one dragon that's a deformed dragon. He's not a normal, like you said, Drogon or
He's not a
anything like that. He
run-of-the-mill
has a birth.
dragon.
He's not run of the mill dragon. He's a birth defect, and I like that. Yeah, they added in that little dynamic, so hey, this one's different. This one's visually you can tell them apart instead of just 3 gray blobs on the screen in the middle of an ice storm.
So I was wondering if Daemon is supposed to look like Hermes. Like, there is no way that's not a coincidence or an accident, because, like, literally, it's like, ooh, my little feet run. I don't know. Like, why would they pick that?
Like the winged helm.
Yes. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It has to be intentional, but why?
I mean, I guess in this, maybe he's trying to deliver. He also so Herbie. If we're gonna stick on that it's intentional, it's Hermes. Hermes is kind of the god of mischief as well.
Definitely.
Daemon really seems like a bit like a chaotic character, so I think there are some parallels there that are pretty valid.
It just was like so very apparent. I'm like, what am I watching? This is, I don't know. It was just weird to me. Not weird, but
were you watching Hercules, the Disney animated flick?
I mean, I feel like it. I might have started there.
Flick.
It's a real good flick.
Pretty good flick. I think that
More like
ends
Hercules.
more like Hercules. Thanks, Jercules.
Call IXII. Jeepers, mister.
Jeepers, mister, you're strong.
Strong.
Oh, I love that movie. And we've dawdled enough for Benji to return to do our next scene.
I said let's just move into
Hercules.
Hercules.
Done.
All right, we're just doing a Hercules
Megara,
from now on.
If we're doing it, we're doing Hercules the whatever journey with Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo. That means we get to do Xena Princess Warrior as well. Same universe.
Warrior Princess, yes.
And then we're going on to, never mind. That's going to derail this whole conversation.
You know who's in Hercules? Bruce Campbell.
I was gonna say Danny DeVito.
You're right.
With Danny DeVito.
All right.
Bill.
Go for it, Benj.
He did say Danny DeVito did say he's up for doing a live action as long as he gets to play Phil.
He's still he fits the bill.
Yep.
I mean, he's become more of a satyr over time.
I think he was born to look that way, and then he just is not aged or anything. He just looked exactly like that.
The thing is, satyrs are usually like 8 feet tall. They just like, oh, this is Dan DeVito. Yoink. There we go. That's the Danny Satyr. All right. So the king prepares for his son's second name day celebration. An annoying Lannister keeps bringing up the stepstones. The princess enjoys a musical piece, but is ordered by the queen to join the party. The happy family head to the Kingswood.
Benj, I think you have kind of the earliest thought in this section here.
Yeah, so I just went with very generalization kind of things. Oh, Abby, do you got something?
Just coughing up a lung.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
I was trying to
So
You're muted.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So this is our first instance of finding out we have a 3-year jump, basically, from the last scene when the king announces he was getting married. Ali is Prager's again. And she's starting to, I get the feeling she's starting to get the feeling for ruling. You know, you kind of see that in her scene with Rhaenyra, but she's still not fully comfortable with it. So I like the buildup. And again, I like their subtle ways of showing, not telling, or if they tell you, they don't tell you, hey, 3 years since the last time we talked, they say, your son's second name day. So you can do some math in your head of, hey, it takes about 9 months. They got probably got pregnant. So we're looking at about 3 years. And it's like, I really enjoy the way they're, doing the storytelling on this side of things.
It definitely feels natural. It doesn't feel like the Babysitters Club thing that we were always complaining about in the podcast that must not be named, the first couple books where it's like those exposition chapters where like you could just drop them out and I mean, book 2 was kind of it was easily the worst chapter in that book of a really great book that doesn't get enough credit, but it was very much, and here's Ron, who's Harry's friend. He did this. He's got siblings. Like,
He has
we
red
just
hair.
read this book. We know. Like they're doing a much better job of making the exposition happen in a normal flowing conversation. On your Alicent comment there, she seems to be getting more opportunity to be queen, right? Like she's being given the opportunities to, kind of play those games.
Well,
And
I think she's smart.
she is smart. I don't think she's conniving. I know that's still an
No.
outstanding thing that we've disagreed on a little bit.
I think right here she uses her, like, the best way to approach this. Like, I'm not going to come in like guns a-blazing, like, no, you're getting in there. Like, I'm trying to afford you the opportunity to just choose to do this. And then, fine, was this the king's command? Yes. It doesn't have to be. Like, yes. Like, you can tell she is playing a very mature. She's dancing this with maturity.
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
whether it's
Absolutely.
conniving or whether it's self-serving, I don't know, but I don't know a better way to.
She's got to play it cool on both sides. And I think she's hurting because she's lost her friend
Yes.
too, right? I mean, they were close. I think that's an undercurrent that she genuinely always cared about Rhaenyra, and I think it's kind of breaking her heart that, yeah, I have to bring you this command, but I started by asking you, and
Right.
like I'm trying here.
is
Can you meet me halfway?
Absolutely.
And Rhaenyra really is brooding a lot here, right? She seems a little petulant, and I'm not saying it's
It's not without merit.
it's
Or,
not
like,
without merit.
Yeah.
Because she's never really been given the chance. She was named the heir. She's never been given the chance to learn alongside Viserys. He's always like, okay, go do this, or go do this piece of shit thing. Like, it doesn't matter. He's not showing her respect. But now Alicent's been giving an authority name, a title that actually has, merit behind it. And they're handling it very differently, I think. So who broods better, her or Jon Snow? Rhaenyra or Jon Snow?
No, John.
John, I think.
Probably John.
I think Rhaenyra is so justified. Like,
And Jon wasn't justified?
oh, I think he was too. I also hated when you all were like, "Oh, John's brooding." I'm like, "Yeah, I'd be pissed too."
We just knew that there was a joke coming from Tyrion later
Yeah,
on about
that's
it.
okay. But
But you brood so well.
But I don't know. I have nothing against either. I think this is a really hard situation, and Rhaenyra obviously still holds some hurt feelings or whatever, justified, not just towards Alicent, and Alicent is doing her very best to, like, it'll be okay, and Rhaenyra's like, you aren't even the problem. But oh, is the king saying that? Okay, cool. I'll go. Like, I think she's justified. I think both of them are justified.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. And I think the way I read the scene was she came over and first she wanted to talk to Rhaenyra. She wanted to try to be kind to her and polite and everything. But Rhaenyra just said, "Keep singing." And Alicent's like, "I order the queen, leave." And the dude's like, "Oh, okay." And so that was her first step up as this is the different part of our relationship here. But she was like, your father wants you to come and we want to be together. And when Rhaenyra's like, "Is that an order?" And she's like, "It is, but you don't have to, it doesn't have to be." And like, maybe I heard it differently as you did. I heard it more as a, like a, yeah, it is, but I don't want you to look at it that way
I
because
heard it
it's
exactly like that. Like what you're saying right there, from Alicent's point of view, I don't think she manages this any better. But what I think she's trying to do is, like, rekindle or find some commonality with her old friend. And her old friend is like, what part of "we are not friends" do you not understand? Like, there is very little. There's nothing you can do. I'm done. Like, you've broken my trust completely, and I don't forgive you. Isn't in order? Great. I will abide. Yes, Your Majesty. Goodbye. And Alicent's going to have hurt feelings or whatever over something that there is nothing she can do.
And she didn't choose this.
No, she didn't choose it.
And I don't think she has a replacement either. Like, she doesn't have other friends. I mean, she talks to all those ladies in the courtroom about all the
Yeah, absolutely.
God
she
knows
can't
what.
really. She and she can't really get to know. Like, it seemed like her and Westerling had a kind of close relationship.
Rhaenyra?
Rhaenyra
Yeah,
and
okay.
Westerling. So like, she doesn't have anybody to talk to. And then we'll get to it later, but it seems like Kristen Cole is becoming a bit more friendly, but she has nobody. Like,
Well, I was
even
saying
the
both of them
Kingsguards.
really have nobody.
Sure.
They had each other at one point, but now that
Yeah.
stick has
I
been broken.
missed where you were talking about Alice. I apologize.
I mean,
It does apply to both.
fits for
though.
both of
Yeah.
them. But now it's hard to find a replacement like that.
Yeah. You had a thought on Ray.
And I did have Ray. Yeah, I think this is how like apps like Spotify got, founded, is like, Ray is trying to listen to some jams. Got her tunes going while she's reading and stuff. But
Continue the joke.
Let's cut off tonight.
No, she's reading. Like, I don't know who's ever like tried to do something in multitask. Like, just I need to have some tunes on while I clean or while I read something,
Absolutely.
or But this is probably where that started.
You're not going to say his name?
Samwell, I think they say his name's Samwell. Like,
Samwell?
keep
Yeah.
playing. I think he comes from House Spotify.
Samwell of House Spotify. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Gertrude,
Spotify.
what was it, Benj?
Spotify.
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 You just slightly changed the way it's said.
Spotify.
Spotify. Abby, it looks like you had a Lannister comment.
Oh, so I believe his name is Tyland.
Yep.
He really looks like a middle-aged Theon.
I saw your comment. I didn't pick that up myself.
I just feel like he could be the up-aged Theon.
So what? He's got like a specific title. That guy, right? He's like the new, like Corliss's
Yeah, he's like the
Yes.
master
He's
of
master of
ships.
ships.
shipmans.
Yeah, he kind of seems like he's the go-between right now from what Corlys is up to and
Right.
reporting on what's going on in the Stepstones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Viserys doesn't really give him the time of day. Like, or he keeps picking at him or whatever about
does.
this thing or whatever. But I think at this
It's
point, like,
time for the
the
party.
king does not give a shit.
Yeah, and I think in the first
Not right time and place, I guess.
these first 2 episodes plus now that we've been able to talk about, if Viserys isn't interested, if it's not like top on his list, he's probably not going to be involved in discussing it, right?
Yeah.
He'd rather stick on the positive things to the detriment of the things that probably should be brought up.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
I have one more note.
Go
Sorry.
for it. Sorry, no, I
No,
apologize.
It's okay. I believe we are talking about as we're heading out to the hunt or to the Kingswood or whatever. They are all in that little carriage.
Yeah.
The inside of that thing is so roomy. How? There's no way.
Just
It is
looking at it on the outside.
There's absolutely no
It's like
way.
Cinderella didn't
I
get
like
that when
literally
she went to
paused
the
it
ball.
to watch as they like rolled in, rolled out. No, it is a standard width carriage that it doesn't exceed that far. It's the next. There's no way it is that roomy. Everybody's knees are touching, but no, we have like, it's not possible.
What you don't realize, Abby, they have 2 cameras mounted very close to each other, pointed at different angles, kind of like you and Glenn there. It looks like you guys are miles apart, but
It made that carriage look really roomy, and well, I think it made the family seem really distant. But they're on this horrible bumpy ride. They're literally like knocking knees, and you don't get like how annoyed you can be by just like somebody. If you have to sit in the middle seat, and you have your annoying siblings on either side, and they just happen to graze you, like just the.
Or in like the school bus when you sit on that, you're in that seat where the wheel is or whatever, and
Glenn,
then they
you're
hit a bump
talking
and
to a. We've never done this. We don't know what this is.
You've been on a school bus
I-
before.
How many times, guys? We can probably count them.
sorry, I mean, I went to public school, so it was kind of a
40?
rite of passage
Actually, no,
to ride
more
the
than
bus.
that.
Right? I always
I-
wanted.
Anyway, just imagine you're on a bus.
Okay.
Okay, you sit in that seat. So all the cool kids sit in the back or whatever,
Very back, right?
and then it's just like everybody else, but you want to try to get as far back as you can. But then, like, what they don't tell you is nobody sits in those seats where the wheel is. So you're like, oh, well, I want to be cool, like the cool kids in the back. So then you settle for the seat next to the wheel. When it hits a bump, you go flying.
Oh yeah,
So,
See?
we always looked for that seat on field
and then
trip.
everyone laughed at him.
It was just the whole time.
And that's how
They're all gonna laugh at you.
And then I became the guy that gets shot out of the cannonball at the carnivals.
That's how that became a thing.
Mhm.
That's great. All right, Badge, take her away. Next scene.
All right, next set of scenes. The princess tries her hand at small talk with Lady Redwine and her court, and is courted by Jason Lionheart. Then calls out her father in front of the crowd. A white hart is reported in the woods. And I think this is, oh no, okay. And that's all that I put for that one. So basically up to the fight, or up to the disagreement.
Fights.
Gertrude, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Sorry, I was just texting my children.
Oh.
We're up to a fight. Oh, okay. So we have Jason here. He is, called him Jason Smarmy Lannister Heart, Lockhart. I don't know. He was just, oh man. And
And he's the twin of that one guy.
Yep.
Thailand.
Thailand.
Yeah.
Thailand.
Thailand
He's
Lannister.
Thailand Lannister.
Yeah, he was just a lot.
Bangkok Lannister.
He was a lot.
No, you weren't feeling his charms.
Mm.
He was laying it on a little bit thick.
He's, just trying to
It's like going
show
on
how he's better than everyone.
a first date with like a bad first date, or if you're like on speed dating, you're just like, beep, time's up, move along.
Next.
And he's like so dejected also, like, oh, this was like, I worked on this. I stood in a mirror for hours perfecting this and it didn't land. What? Like,
All the books said this would work.
right, like, how could she possibly not like
The Cosmopolitans that I read said this was going to work.
mm.
The Cosmos. Oh, that's great. We have
Actually, Cosmos. They had those at the gas stations in Castaway Rock, probably.
absolutely, at least at Lannisport. Definitely in
Or like the
Lannisport.
grocery stores when you're waiting to check out and you see all these.
You've got the Riverlands.
I got to know what Jennifer Aniston is up to.
I feel like you are mixing up so many magazines here, folks.
Well, I mean,
Just-
But you
Cosmo-
have
I
Lannisport
just-
Inquirer.
go
you
into
know.
the tabloids.
I'm
in
just
general.
saying,
Just those,
Cosmo's just for sex tips. Come on, it's high school girl sex tips. Sorry.
but they're
Like,
still
that
on the
sounds really
grocery
bad.
store. They're in the
No, I
same
get
place as
you.
the
Yeah,
tabloids.
yeah.
Right. I just noticed them when I'm checking out of the grocery store, and I don't thumb through them a couple times, but
I mean, not every day.
Just
We
on
have
the newish.
a Clubfoot sighting. We
Yep.
saw him. He was walking around, and then he asked the ladies to join them as well, right?
Clever Lang.
Do we know more about him, like through the books and stuff and whatnot?
Yes,
I definitely
He
saw
becomes-
him, obviously,
yeah.
but
we will learn more about him later. I bet.
Him and his brother.
Yeah. The Strongs.
Let me look.
Bonebreaker.
Strong Bros.
Bonebreaker is his brother's name,
did
and that's the guy who
Lionel?
Lionel Strong is who Bonebreaker is, and we will likely learn more about him. And that was the guy that his dad was called out by Viserys here in a little bit, saying, "Oh, let me guess, you think
He's the best
Rhaenyra
one,
should
yeah.
marry
Yeah.
Bonebreaker?"
The master
and
of
he's like,
laws. Yeah.
"Yeah, you flatter me, but I don't think so."
Yeah.
So,
And we did see Bonebreaker because when they rode up in the carriage, it was
Yep.
Bonebreaker and Lionel, or Bonebreaker and Clubfoot sitting next to each other.
mhm.
They
Not really
made
named
sure to talk.
necessarily, but you can kind of tell that that's
No.
who it is.
They're the Strong Boys.
Yeah.
They're the Strong Boys.
Clubfoot was named later, during this scene.
Right, right.
Because this was some with an H, right?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Okay.
Harland, maybe. I don't think that's right.
Harlan, I think. Yeah.
But,
yeah, so go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, Rhaenyra, she's kind of isolating herself further, so she goes up to the group of women, right? And it doesn't seem like making friends is really on her to-do list either, which, as the heir, she's not really helping her cause to want people to back her. I know she's feeling very
she's-
dejected and on her own.
She's not a politician. is
She's
what it
not
comes
at
down
all.
to.
She's a Targaryen, and she knows what's hers, and she just expects people to just buy into it.
I thought it was a very diplomatic answer.
I mean, she played it cool, but at the same time, it was definitely why don't you go fuck yourself a little bit? And
And they
she's
did.
not there to do what Allison's doing of keeping the peace and pleasing people, which is either genuine or not.
But she doesn't have to. If she becomes that person, she becomes the king just like her dad. And how well has that worked out for everybody?
Right, but she's right now. Rhaenyra is so upset that people aren't accepting her. There's talk about like she's in this wishy-washy.
No one's
not
kissing her ass. Pretty much.
She feels like everyone's being wishy-washy around her, and she's not doing She's not doing anything to promote herself to these people.
Yeah,
I just wanted to call that out, that she's kind of isolating herself and isn't trying to make friends because it's her thing. It's her thing. So,
and in the same time, they're also, Redwine is calling out her father for being inactive, and her uncle and cousin uncle, whatever that's called, Corlys, for being irresponsible and starting this war and everything. And so her stance is to defend the position of her family,
absolutely,
who made this choice, whether it's the right choice or wrong choice. At least, they were doing something. And she called out Redwine. It's like, oh yeah, you're just sitting, how much have you saved the realm, sitting here eating your cake?
Bitch.
And that was pretty good little burn. And then we get a random sighting of a pug. Just
right.
Just a random fucking pug, like a
Sir
purebred,
Puggington,
ugly,
as Phil H says in the chat.
Sir Puggington.
Yeah, and it's like,
Is cool.
I mean, it's just out of place. And I get it. Pugs have always been royalty and all that, and have been attested to it and all that. But it's just like, it was just so weird, so out of place. But no, I did like to call out on her part on Redwine, and then Abby. Oh, she stepped away. So, but to those in the chat that don't know, Redwine is the great grandmother of the Queen of Thorns. So they're trying to like make you know, hey, this is in the bloodline. This is but she's not as good as the Queen of Thorns is. But the family will get there, kind of thing. At least ways that
they'll get better from here.
Yeah,
it gets better.
It gets better. Glenn, I think you have kind of our final thought of this scene here.
Yeah, my final thought is, I kind of find the hand to be a little bit annoying, and I know he has all his hand jobs to do and stuff like that, duties. But I just find that he's just always lingering around, and then interjecting and stuff whenever I think we see him a couple times when the king is like in an argument or talking to someone, and he just like puts his 2 cents in. But like and especially when it comes down to like the heart, reporting the White Hart in the woods, like, because I think at this point he's arguing with Rhaenyra, right?
Yeah, this is when she's kind of like, really?
And then he's
what
like,
you're gonna do?
let me interrupt you. There's a White Hart that's been reported. I think Viserys is like, okay, sure.
No,
it definitely seems like. Go ahead, Bench. Go ahead.
As a father with a learning disabilities child at times, I'm told the phrase, he's very good at redirecting. Once he starts getting a little up there, a little anxious, a little anxiety, you have to redirect. You have to take his guys off some. And so Otto's very good at, hey, King, something shiny. That's
what it feels like to me. He's trying to get the focus off of what could be construed as a negative thing in front of this many people. He doesn't want people to see the king losing his shit like this.
I think it is like, if somebody did that to me, I would fire them. Because it is so... Like,
but it was subtly done. He came in excited. He came in excited as a White Hart's been spotted. My liege,
he
my
thinks
grace.
He's that. And see, the thing is, I think Viserys is much more intelligent. Like, he knows he's being handled. It's not lost on him, and he plays it off like, "Oh, cool, the White Hart, great, because now you can get me out of here." But then he doesn't. I don't know.
It's like he loses,
off with his head.
loses the battle because he interjected like that.
Yeah, but Viserys knew he was in a losing position regardless. Either look bad in front of the crowd or lose that. So getting the redirection, he can jump onto that. Like, okay, So it actually was a well played thing for the farce of the court. Yeah. You could say.
But they were both on that.
The hand's smugness, I think, is the thing where it's like he's like, King,
great.
Whiteheart. Saved the day
Has been
again.
reported.
I've saved the day again.
Was that De Niro?
Once again.
Hey, I'm Robert De Niro.
Hey,
You spit in my shoes.
King, did you spit on my shoe?
There's been a white hot.
Oh, all right. Any final thoughts on that's nonsense there? All right, Benj, take her away.
All right. The heir takes her leave from the party, and her sword and shield gives chase, and the two take a stroll. The king examines some royal poo, and Otto reminds him it is a good sign because today of all days.
Benj, you have the first note here.
Yeah, so totally after the horseback racing, let's extend this out by about 3 minutes to just fill some fucking time scene. But you know, we get Rhaenyra during their stroll of people don't know, or Kristen Cole said, most people would love to be in your position, Your Grace. You realize that, people just want that because they don't know what I go through. Bitch, talk about white girl royal problems. It's like yes, I get it. The struggles of the royalty can be great and astronomical. Give me the shot. Give me the chance. I don't care. It's like it just, that line was just like, really? That was the ultimate just teenage, just, what's the word I'm looking for?
Dirtbag.
Baby.
No, privileged. Teenage privileged, just fucking annoying rich kid. And I was like, fuck you.
And
even Kristen Cole gave her a look like, fuck you.
And here's my major problem with what Benji just said is my only note that I had written here was what Benji said. It was pretty much exactly what I felt about that line as well. Like, really? Like, come on. Like, I really like Rhaenyra in general. There are a lot of things I like about Rhaenyra. There are several more things coming in over time that I'm like, God, you're not really living up to what I was kind of hoping for at this point. I'm not saying it's sinking the ship, but like comments like that, like you just don't get it. You just don't get it. Like you can't just throw your dragon in people's face and say, I'm the end all be all best thing that you can ask for because I was named it one day by my daddy.
I just take it completely differently than you guys. Like, when I saw those notes, I was like, I don't even know if I have a very well thought out, put together rebuttal, but I think you're wrong. Like, that's number one. Number two, and I'm going to get to it by this. Like, people will say, like, oh, well, like, I have this going on, and they're very stressed or they're very unhappy. And they're like, but it's not as bad as, that doesn't mitigate or like minimize the stress and the problems that you do have.
Right.
Like, they are still problems. They are still valid. And she gets to feel like this because it's not just, I have all this money and I'm going to be queen someday and my life is great. It's that literally at every single person she looks at is backstabbing and waiting for her to be unnamed. And she knows it. And she does not have anybody sitting there going, hey, Rhaenyra, that's really not going to happen. She has no support. She has nothing. She has nothing except for this promise. And then we want to yell at her for being a white girl privilege. I'm sorry. Like, I can't.
No. I'm going to defend my position a little bit.
I don't think you're wrong because I do see
she can absolutely feel that way. Her feelings are 1,000% valid.
Yeah.
They are totally valid. Everything sucks for her right now. But she also wouldn't want to go and live in Flea Bottom to trade somebody right now.
No.
Not a chance.
Probably
never
not.
had to worry about where her next meal is coming
where
from.
she puts like almost like a ultimatum kind of thought of like, well, that's because they don't live in the life that I'm living. Like, but she is also ignoring all of the fantastic things that she does get to do. So that's the privilege. Her feelings and stresses, absolutely valid.
But she's absolutely right by saying that's because they don't live my life.
I know that.
Just like I just.
But he's putting it more of a generalization of someone at your rank, if you will.
I really hate you should be like, if you are having a mental health problem, but you should be so happy that you have.
At least your foot isn't broken.
Right. Like at least you have your eyesight. At least your family love it. It's not that bad. That is like so minimalizing. And it's not healthy. And she literally has nobody that is being a parent or a confidant in her that is like, hey, Rhaenyra, knock it off, because sometimes what you need is that person who has something over you to say, you are, but she has nothing. She's not being told to stop.
I think we went at length about how she's had no support.
So
besides
I
Westeros
don't hate
behind
on
the
her
scenes.
for, I think she's totally, completely justified.
I think she's justified. It just comes across as the way they're trying to show it. And that's what Kristen Cole's perspective is.
Yeah.
Is what we're kind of seeing there. Is I think what we're getting.
Yeah,
at.
but I think at this point, like, she's just trying to vent. She, like you said, she doesn't have
right.
anybody.
She's not doing this on the.
She doesn't have
pulpit.
friends. She doesn't have really family that she could go to. And this Kristen Cole, I mean, she gave him a job, really. So, I mean, I think he kind of jumped at the point to chase her down because, like, he owed something to her for giving her, the position. But, like, yeah, I think she's just saying what's in her heart, what she feels to somebody that she kind of, I think, likes and maybe trusts a little bit. And like you said, she doesn't have anybody else.
It is a private conversation. It's not a big public display of like, oh, woe is me, right?
Yeah.
Can I have one more thought on this scene? It
You
doesn't go
absolutely
into
can.
like what we were just
That's
discussing.
okay.
It kind of does a
we've-
little bit.
I think we've kicked that horse enough.
Okay, well, it is a horse thing. Why in the world? Okay, so they're riding gallop, 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 gallop. She is completely in control. She's riding fast, but why in the world does he need to reach over and pull these reins? They both stop. So that is such I'm like, that would never happen.
Like, it's not like a cliff. It's not.
No,
a
it's
cliff.
not a cliff. What's he gonna do? The worst he's gonna do?
It's like a.
It was
Trot
like
into
a
the
creek
water?
or something like that.
Like, that is such bullshit. Like, that is the stuff that takes me out.
There's leeches.
I'm like, what was the intent here? Like, to show, like, oh, look, it's her protector. Girl was protecting herself just fine. She was riding just
agreed.
fine.
Yeah.
And she might have got her toes wet in the water. Like, it was dumb. Sorry. It was dumb. I don't like that.
Like I said, it was an extended horse race scene for no fucking reason. It literally could have been her ride off, he catches up to her, and they do the stroll.
Like, hey,
That's
all the scene
wait
needed
up
to
a
be.
bit. I want to talk.
Well, I think that's part of my problem with it, Benji, is they like do the whole horse riding scene, and then, he's reaching over. First of all, how's he pulling his horse back to stop? Like, logistically, they just showed it I'm like, this is dumb. This is dumb.
Yeah.
It's just to get an action scene.
Yeah.
It really was. It really feels like they
they
needed...
spent so much money on dragons, so they couldn't really.
Yeah, and they've got these two horses that they really wanted to use as well. So the last thought I have on this scene, unless anyone else has something here,
nothing.
the Whiteheart stag, right? We kind of learn a little bit about it. And, they multiple times bring up, the Whiteheart, it's kind of the symbol of the kingdom, power, royal house before your family came and took over. I'm talking about the Targaryens. And, do you think it's meant to be like if you don't kill the white stag, the Whiteheart, it's kind of showing a lack of dominance of Viserys? Like, it's kind of a shameful thing for him to show that maybe he's not the true steel Targaryen kind of thing.
I mean, I would say yes, but at the same time, this is an extremely rare thing. It seems like I don't know if you're like hunting, like, oh man, maybe I can get that 30-point buck or whatever. That's just not going to come out every day,
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is just a rare effect where I think 9 times out of 10, you're not going to see this. You're not going to get the opportunity to, hunt this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but at the same time, I can see people just being, oh, well, we didn't get the white one, so he's going to fail.
So do you think that by grabbing the poop of the deer that you could tell if it was one of those? If it was a Whiteheart or not?
Grabbing poop and
Just give it a squeeze. Checking
Good sniff.
the temperature in the
you have to put it in your
There-
mouth
there could-
and then
there-
like kind of swish it
there could-
around. Maybe get some milk or something.
Gross.
Yeah.
No,
In
you could-
fairness,
I don't think you
I'll
can
go
tell.
with the actual answer. There could actually be some butt fur in there with some like white fur coming on that,
Yeah, but
just
that,
saying.
that could
Couldn't
be
that be
something
like a
he
whisker?
ate. He ate like a mouse or something,
Agreed.
and then he shit out a mouse, a white mouse.
It could have been
It's a white heart mouse.
a Whiteheart dingleberry hanging on to it.
That's the real prize, the white heart dingleberry.
Those are
Oh, I do have a
rare.
question. I do have a question for Glenn, but it's for off stream. So
Okay.
I'll
Put
talk
a-
later.
put
In
a-
We
regards
have
to
plenty of
poop.
time.
Put a pin in it.
Put a
And
pin in it.
take us to the next scene, please.
All right. So I'm stealing a line from AK here. The king enters his cups and reminds his lords his decision wasn't made in haste. After including smarmy Locke Lannister, Otto puts forth his grandson as an option, and the Master of Laws amends a previous proposal. So,
Can I go?
Glenn, go.
So I will go because Luke told me to go. I think here, like the king, he seems like offended when everybody like assumes his actions, and he's pretty stubborn about it. Like, oh well, I just like assume that this is what you're gonna do, and he's like, I think like maybe sometimes he would do those things, but that everyone's just like, oh, well, this is what you're gonna do. This is he's like, fuck you, like I'm the goddamn king, like. Now that you said that, like it's like almost one of those like whenever you go to vote or whatever, and like for me, like I just want to get in there, do my voting and or whatever, and get the fuck out of there. And every time I go, oh, there's all these people that are like,
Solicitors,
yeah,
lobbyists,
vote for me. You should vote for Roy Schneider or whatever.
Bill Sasquatch.
It's like I am not voting for Roy Schneider because
You should vote for him. Not going to.
you fucking
You
wasted my
lost our
time.
Congrats,
I
Nate. You lost that vote.
wore a shirt last time and on the front and the back it said, "If you talk to me, I will not vote for you." It was front and back. It was like, if you talked, I will not. I don't care if I was going to, I'm not. Do not talk to me.
Yeah.
I get
That's
it.
how I feel about politicians, dude.
Well,
Yeah.
that is I think you're exactly right, Glenn, on this. Like, he is just so annoyed by everybody.
And he's calling out, I think it was last episode, or it might have been a little bit later on, how he calls Rhaenyra contrarian, right? If I told her, oh, that's a little bit after this scene.
Yes.
It's coming up. We can come back to it. But he's kind of pulling the same thing that he kind of calls her later of, if you try to push me in a direction, I'm just going to push back harder the other way,
It's
right?
a little bit of oppositional defiance.
Which is how dragons
actually-
are in general. You don't guide dragons. If you push them, if you give them the whip, a horse will go away from the whip. A dragon goes into it because it's going to fight that. So I think that's kind of on par with what would make sense for these kind of characters.
And what you're talking about, Luke, was the line he says to her after she comes storming in about the Jason Lannister thing. He's arrogant and conniving and this and that. He goes, I figured you'd have that in common. It was like, okay.
There's another line
Nice
later.
little-
There was another line. I think it's
You're
when he's
right,
talking to
there is, yeah.
Strong. It's when he's talking to Strong.
Yes.
Oh no. That's okay. We'll leave
Yes.
that drop.
But another thing about the scene, Kenzie brought it up in the chat and been talking about it here. Up until this part, on the third time through for me, I didn't realize he was actually missing two fingers. They didn't really show it off too much, or I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
And the only reason I saw it was because on watching somebody else's channel and stuff that said, oh yeah, he's now missing two fingers, and this I'm like, he was.
I
And
saw
watched back,
something like
this was
that.
the scene
Yeah,
I didn't catch
'Cause
it.
that was,
this is news to me.
that was the hand that had the maggots or whatever
cut,
trying to
yeah.
heal the wound or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I didn't
but-
catch that. I didn't see that.
So yeah, I didn't catch it until like my last time through after rewatching it and seeing it on somebody else's channel. I don't remember who. Somebody was doing a review and I was like, oh shit, he was
Yeah.
missing two fingers.
think-
Oh fuck.
I think the point was like he's deteriorating health wise, and I think that's what some of these people are just trying to, I guess, blitz him or whatever with these things or whatever, like with like Rhaenyra and stuff like that. Like, oh, we need to get her married, or how about me? Like that.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't have a lot of time left or whatever that he
'Cause
can deter like what happens.
Exactly. And like in the last 3 years, he's already gotten a little balder, a little fatter. Now he's lost a couple fingers as well. And I like the makeup, or Patty's just put on the weight. Good for him. You're being dedicated to put on 20 pounds in between episode, filmings. But you can tell, he's put on a little weight and everything. And I did just, I don't know, interesting things, especially with the Lannister, where he's like, Lannister's like, well, you don't have all the power, you could give help and all this. And Viserys is like, oh, do you have dragons? And he's like Lannister kind of steps back, like, motherfucker, yeah, I have dragons, just gold dragons, you know. You need those kind of dragons too, not just yours, you know. He kind of took the step back, but he's like, okay, fair, you know, here's your gift. Sorry for offending. Wasn't prudent.
In regards to Lannister walking up, I really liked when, you know, he's kind of talking to Viserys about, you know, with Rhaenyra's loss of station, this could be a really good match for her. And he's like, the fuck you talking about? Like, and he's like, well, when you know, I just assumed you'd be naming your son king. And he's like, and when would I be doing that? Oh, you know, many of us. You know, it's treason. What you're talking about right now. He just lays into him, right? And he's like, it's your sworn duty to report rebellion. I just loved that Viserys just like, fuck right off, smarmy.
Yeah, and I think he says something like, you know, I'm done with this fucking politics.
Fucking politics.
I just want to hunt, you know.
Yeah,
this is a hunting trip. It's not a, you know, it's one of those probably that we're
I'm
supposed to be
Camp
away.
David.
We're away.
David.
We're away from the kingdom. We're away from, you know, the office where we need to work. This is a vacation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it just feels like it's not being treated.
Being
like
invaded by politics is what it seems
sure.
like. Ben, do you have some thoughts on Otto? And then Abby, I think you have a follow up with it.
Otto.
Yeah, so Otto does put forth valid request, just as a hand, just as a genuine thing. Why not, betroth her to her half brother, to Aegon? Then both can be rulers. She can keep her claim as heir, and Aegon, you know, gets his rightful place as well as the firstborn son. Otto just by chance then has his bloodline in the you know, in the throne, but
just an honest coincidence.
You know, but
what a
you know,
great idea.
It's a valid, you know, a valid proposal. You know, and I wish maybe Viserys would have considered it a touch more, because it would be a 10-year betrothal minimum. You know, because the kid's 2 now, he'd have to wait till he's at least 12. You know, a 10 years, so Rhaenyra could go and have her fun, go do whatever, you know, and learn to rule, learn to do everything, and she could be the hand, and then he's an easy out, you know. So I wish maybe he would have given it a bit more consideration in that moment, but I get the where he's like, it's fucking, you know, he's 2, you know.
I mean, he was even against that major age difference for himself, right? I mean, that's.
Yes,
this is a
baby. I mean, it's a 15-year age difference compared to a 25-year age difference.
I know, but he was at least somewhat considering Lena,
them getting married
now, where he's just like, oh, this kid's 2. Like, let's not even talk about that, like, at all.
Yeah. Abby,
So,
did you have?
My thought on this scene is I completely understand Viserys here. Like, my whole attitude on him is changing a little bit. I feel like he very much is just, to him, things are very straightforward. Like, but if we don't go here, then what? He's like, I'm aware of what happens if we don't go. I'm aware. I'm aware. Like, he isn't outright speaking his thought, but I believe he's thought through everything. And in this, we've like hit this horse. Oh my God. Kicked this horse, shot this horse 5,000 times already in this scene. I'll be quick with it. He is so over this fucking party. Like, he is exactly, I'm like, I get it, man. Like, if one more fucking person comes up to me, like, I can't do it. I don't want to. I feel like he's very introverted. And it's just sucking the life out of him. And the eyes that he cuts Otto. And then Otto starts and he's like, he's 2. I'm fucking done with it. Like, he's lost it. I feel like very on brand. I can see kind of, at first I was like, oh my God, Sarah's like, he doesn't make a decision, or he's just like an appeaser, or he's a reactive. No, I think he's just, he doesn't think this shit is a big deal. He's like, I'm completely aware of what's going on. I don't need to talk about it with you. We don't need to go. I know she needs. I am completely aware that she needs to marry.
Like, have you seen the other shit that I've
Like-
already been doing right now?
I
Did you see the
realize it
argument we
is a
had 20 minutes ago?
problem. Your counsel is not helping me because the problems that I'm dealing with has nothing to do with not an option. It's some other things. Like, and he's fucking over it, and he doesn't feel like he has. I think it's so obvious to him that he doesn't understand why these people are like incessantly like coming up with these solutions. That he's like, check, not gonna work. Check, no. Check, no. Still not gonna work. Like, I love him.
So to that point, Ab, he does have another conversation with one more guy that decides to annoy him or decides to test it.
But
and,
he surprised him. So guess what happened? His little attitude changed. He's like, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, this is a valid
Because he
point.
he didn't think of that angle
Yeah.
because he had already written off the Valerians. I'm talking, of course, the Master Law's Strong. That's where the line comes up where he'd come up and he's like, "What? You propose your son, the Bonebreaker?" He's like, and the Master Law's like, "Yeah, no, and
No, not that.
she'll
guy.
kick my son's ass." Like that. That was the look he gave. He was like, "No, she'd beat my son's ass." So no, that's not where I was going with it. But and like he proposes Laenor Valerian, and even Viserys didn't see that one coming. He was like, "Oh,
He zigged when everybody else zagged.
But
Because
Yeah.
he seems to get it best.
Well,
he knows how to deal with Viserys the best.
that's-
It seems like.
he wasn't self-serving.
Right.
Viserys is
yeah.
seeing through everybody who he's like, oh yeah, you're right. That is so great for Rhaenyra. Great idea.
Yeah, Strong seems to be the most genuinely interested
Yeah,
in just helping the king, right?
The
You're not
king.
going to get a boost of
You're
it.
right.
You know, and I think he appreciates that where he's not thinking about himself really.
Here's to Strong, right there.
All night
We
long,
like-
I'm
oh.
strong.
All night strong.
Oh, man.
All right. Any final thoughts on that series of scenes? Nope. Then
Yep.
take us along.
all right." The princess shares a fire with her knight and are met by the ancestor of a kingslayer. The king questions his choices to his bride. So
Glendog.
yeah.
I think this is summed up as Ray goes ham.
Yeah, I think kind of the only other conversation, the only other note written down here that we have is in that same right here. And I actually just called her Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis.
Lets out some frustration on that pig. It really just seems like, it gets taken down and she gets kind of damsel saved a little bit, right? Kristen comes over and saves it when it's on top of her. And then it's followed up by it kind of attacks her again.
Arya.
And she just goes,
Where's
no.
Yeah, not today.
It was
I was
very
waiting
much,
for it here.
it was
Where's
very
the
much
gold? Where's the people? Where are the silvers?
yeah, absolutely. So it's probably healthy for her. Let some of it out.
I thought, are we gonna move on from this? I thought that it was a very interesting, like the way they cut this scene, like after the pig or whatever. All of a sudden, you see these flames and Viserys, and it was not exactly clear to me what was happening. And I was like, wait, is he standing behind their campfire? Like, I got confused for just a slight second. Like, did he set this pig upon her? What the fuck is going on? And
Yeah.
I have come to realize that is not possible, like not exactly what happened. But the first time watching through, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. What is happening? Like, did I miss something? Did he set? It was just a weird cut scene visually for me. Like
I could say that.
it really kind of messed me up. I was like, oh my God, like this is getting real.
So here's one thing about these two scenes. Besides Viserys kind of like he finally starting to question the Rhaenyra choice.
Mhm.
Like this is where he gets gets a little concerned. I could not tell you one line of dialogue from that scene between Kristen Cole and Rhaenyra though. Like it's such forgettable scene apart from the hog. In the sense of I don't know if anything meaningful was said.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, and I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say that because I know it was like a sweeter conversation kind of thing.
Which that's where he
but-
says, "Do you want me to kill him?" Isn't that?
Yeah,
Oh my
talking
God.
about Jason
Yeah.
Lannister.
Do
Yeah,
you want me to kill him? What?
yeah.
It's
but,
not like a very
besides
Braun
that,
comment, didn't it? Should I kill him?
yeah,
Well, I think we like kind of miss out though on the time between the horses and then them not going in the stream or whatever, and then cut to kind of this as a campfire. So at some point, I'm pretty sure Kristen Cole was probably like, "We need to get back to camp," and she was like, "No." I ain't
Well, that
going
happened
back
at
to
the
camp.
stream.
Was
It
that in
like-
one of the bonus
yeah,
scenes, one of the deleted scenes? Because I feel like I saw that.
And then
it
I
did
guess
happen.
they said
That was right at the stream, right before the walk.
Well, it's getting dark. Let's build a fire, I guess, and yeah, we're just gonna have to
Yeah.
camp out, I guess.
Does anybody else get like a really, really, really strong? This could be one of two people: Dario 1.0 or Dario 2.0 vibes from
2.0s.
Kristen Cole.
Kristen,
They're
I
definitely
get
trying to
2.0.
play
Like,
that.
Like it's
look wise 2.0. Yeah, they're giving me the vibe on it.
that's what I was
that'd be the
asking. Is it
closest.
1.0 or is it 2.0?
Oh, it's definitely.
Two.
I think 2.0, right?
2.0's
Just kidding.
He doesn't seem as
1.0
cocky
is
though.
hot.
Like, you know?
2.0 is not.
Yes,
None of them are. They're
Correct.
all unattractive
Correct.
in my book.
I don't think he's as cocky. Though,
fucking Francis.
No,
Fucking
I don't think. I think you're right. I mean, he doesn't seem as.
He seems more humble.
I think he seems pretty genuine. Like I think when she asks him stuff, he's obligated to answer her things, but at the same time, I think he's really saying how he feels, and he's not coming across as you pick me because I'm a fucking badass.
No.
Like Dario would be like,
No.
yeah, you're fucking well.
He was like,
I
that was
don't
my
get a
greatest. That was my
Dario
greatest day. You know,
vibe from him necessarily. I just get a Dario. They're trying to make him Dario in the
Consort.
show.
It's
like
the
Does that
best
make-
consort
It's very
vibe.
much coming across as, hey, this is a love interest
Right.
potentially. She might be crushing on him.
Ouch. Sizzle, sizzle.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Sizzler.
But we got the same
Can we
thing
go to the
with
Sizzler?
Alicent in episode 1. We got the same vibe from Alicent in episode 1 and Rhaenyra. So anybody's game
True.
right now.
True. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
We
All
need
right,
to talk
uh,
about the king and Alicent when he's at the fire and she comes to speak with him.
Yeah. go
Yeah,
for
I
it.
mean,
I have such like conflicting feelings on Alicent because
because you're supposed to.
yeah, she's a difficult character. Like I feel like if I am supporting my girl Rhaenyra and I'm gonna defend her,
You
like
mean Ray Lewis?
yes, Ray Lewis, fucking give him the one, give him the two,
Ravens
and
linebacker.
then I have to like automatically not like Alicent or like see her from like a side view of being malicious or sneaky or self-serving. And I'm gonna stop doing that because I think that's what they want
I
you
think
to
that's
do.
the obvious, easy thing to do. I like both.
I like
characters.
both of them
I do
also,
too.
but I feel like I'm like really hard like Team Rhaenyra right now because I have a feeling of where this is going, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Do you want me
and
to tell you where this is going?
No, I have a feeling, and I know I'm not wrong, and there's going to be some turmoil.
You're gonna like it. You won't like it. You will like it. You won't like it. You won't like it. You will like it. It's gonna,
Exactly.
It's gonna happen
That's
back
just,
and
we're
forth.
gonna bounce. We're gonna bounce. We're gonna
It's
bounce.
gonna bounce.
And it's fine. But I feel like Alicent here just gives. I don't know if we're after when Otto talks, or I could be getting my scenes confused.
It's a little later.
That's a
I'm
you're on
sorry,
a li-
but like she
That's a little
goes,
later.
she goes to him,
as Glenn would say.
and I believe my thought about her is really further down. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They talk,
That's-
and I'm sorry about that. That was
Yeah,
just me.
we just get a one-on-one with the
Yep.
the king and queen, right?
Yep.
And that happens.
It happened. They
Yeah.
talked.
Like I said, it wasn't much apart from this. The first time you see cracks in Viserys, considering his choice. He's like,
Right,
did
it's
I
the
make
first
wrong
time
choice? Did I
he's-
do it to spite Dame? I did it to spite Damon, and and so you start seeing the cracks in his thought process.
Yeah.
But even Rhaenyra or even Alicent was like, no, I mean, you made the choice that you made, and like was defending his choice to him, not even questioning his choice, at least at this point.
Because she
You know.
still likes Rhaenyra. She still wants to
Yep.
be buddies. All right.
Exactly.
I think we nailed that one. Nice job.
Good job.
Nice job, team. Take a bench.
All right. The king gets a participation trophy. Rhaenyra spares the true king of the forest, I was king of the forest, and brings her own prize back to camp.
Glendahog.
I just an uncomfortable scene, like whenever they tied up the stag, and like it's not the white heart stag.
It's kind of a consolation.
It's just like and it's definitely not hunting, but I think everyone just kind of like assumes that like, oh, well, the king has to get, a trophy or whatever. And this was like, yeah, like you said, the consolation prize. And it just was just, like uncomfortable, and it just was so weird. Just him hitting it, just like
He does it wrong.
with, I think the point of hunting is it's kind of a game. This was just not that.
Yeah, I just feel like it was pretty lame, right? It's not the thrill of the hunt. This is not what Robert Baratheon would be doing out there, right? They wouldn't be holding it. I mean, that was his downfall. It's an easy one. But like most of the kings that we've seen kind of live up to that warrior to some to some level. And
but
he's just like, okay, they have him holding it.
it seems like everybody, they had him holding it there, like they want him to get the trophy, and then like he finally just conforms and stabs the thing or whatever, and it dies, and then everyone's clapping and kissing his ass. And it's
Yeah,
just
it
like
dies on the second stroke. It takes
Yeah.
two strokes,
two stroke
two
finisher.
stroke penalty.
Two-stroke Charlie.
Yeah.
Well, and then at the end, after the two-stroke Charlie, he finally gets done. Everybody gives him a little golf clap. It's like, okay, you're Tiger Woods, but you just hit a double bogey, But okay, yeah,
Right, we were,
all right, we get it.
yeah, it was kind of late. That was kind of
Maybe a John Daly, maybe a John Daly.
and I'm sure they're like clapping and like, this is kind of pathetic, but we have to cleanse the king, so
Like it honestly would have been more impactful had he said, by order of decree, this stag is saved, or
He pardons it like a turkey.
yes, yeah, do the turkey pardon, because he knows this is bullshit. He knows this is meaningless. It's not the white stag. It's not whatever. If he just
I
does
agree
that,
with that. It's actually
it would
pretty good
actually
point.
show
It would have shown
a
him being in
better-
control of the situation more, and not just, okay, well, this is what we got. I'll just do it for doing its sake. And that's a good point, Benj, because I think he could have saved face more, being like, pardoning it, this isn't even worth my time. This is not what I was here for.
Right.
It would make him look a stronger person, saying this is not good enough for what the rumors have been going about. Everyone knows it's a disappointment, and he leans into it. So I think that's a good point.
Yeah,
Abby, any thoughts
that's what
on
I'm
the holding the stag or the?
I just thought it was a hard scene to watch. Like, I don't think any person wants to see an animal suffer, including like a hunter. I think that would even break a hunter's heart. Like, that it wasn't a clean shot.
You're a monster.
Well, I do.
Well,
that's not what you want.
Like when I've gone hunting or whatever, I've been taught to like, you need to give that time to let it essentially die. Like, just not go and teabag it or whatever, like you do in Call of Duty or something like that. Like,
Yeah. If you don't drop it with one shot, give it time and everything. If you can get to it, make it quick. Which, in his credit, he does on the second stab. But
it's like so not quick. It's like, oh boy,
like,
you
try again.
it.
Well,
You're my lord. To the left here. It's like such a no. Like I just feel like you just do it. Like, and that was just hard. It was just hard to watch. I don't like watching animals suffer. That's all. Like, that's it. Just
absolutely
that noise was bad.
Luckily, it was a CGI animal. I can get over it. But
how do you know? How do they train that young buck to just fall?
Luckily,
here, take
luckily
this.
Charles Dance wasn't there, because otherwise that
Charles
bitch would have been
Dance.
real.
Yeah, right. He would have been what's the word I'm looking for? Not stripped, field dressed. He'd been dressed and skinned by the time the king got fucking swirled up his ladder back onto his horse.
He totally ruined my thought of him, though. You're like, yeah, they taught him the day before how to do it because he wanted to be authentic, and I was like, he was so manly in my eyes. I just assumed he already knew how to do
He
it.
knows how to do this shit.
Right? Obviously, he knows. He's Tywin Lannister.
You can Charles Dance if you want to. You left Poe upstairs.
She was up there.
You left her up there.
I'm going to get the Poe.
I think the last kind of thing here is we see this is Rhaenyra bringing her little piggy back to home as well. Back to market, and she just kind of big leagues a little bit, right? She's like, I don't give a shit about this. Have a pig. Like,
you're talking about Rhaenyra?
Yeah.
And she's got the blood on her face, and everyone's like, oh, shit.
Like, she looks badass.
Look at this
like,
girl.
That looks like someone who just went through some shit.
You need a pulled pork sandwich?
Well, also,
I got you. I got the slaw. It'd be all right.
Meat's back on the menu,
scene,
bro.
Go for it, Ben. Sorry.
No, you're fine. We just skipped the scene a little bit with her and Kristen up on the mountainside, and they see the true
Yeah,
white
yeah.
heart.
I started
right.
waiting for that one. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Correct.
Kristen like goes to draw a sword, and she's like, no, she's like, no.
Honor the.
First of all, I
angel.
think a lot of people would probably think, oh well, she's trying to be nice and all that. Kristen Cole isn't catching that fucking deer. He is not stabbing that. He does not have a bow and arrow. He is not catching that deer on his own. On foot. He wasn't even on his horseback. He was on foot. He starts drawing the sword, and she's
but
like, no.
Let me put it to you this way: like during the rut season or whatever, like if that's what they're hunting for, some of those bucks are just going to be aggressive. And they're on horseback.
That's fair.
Maybe he thinks it's another deer or something. Like he's just trying to fight it. So he very well could attack
Come
them.
at. Fair. Okay. Fair point. Fair.
I know this whole series. Like, I've watched a little bit of it. There's dragons. There's like some green fire shit. There's some other fantastical things. And we could not CGI a convincing stag that's white. That little turn that he does. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just so. I do not.
Bambi,
I
go
am
home.
not.
So much money on dragons.
Historically speaking, you can go back and check me. Like, I am so excited to be excited for this show. And I am not going to hate on it because I just like being entertained and I'm easily happy. Like, I'm easily entertained by it. But the horses, the pulling, I'm like, it was just weird. I'm like, we couldn't have just gotten like a real big ass animal
And just bleach it.
Well, I mean, then gone in with like what's that? Color correcting, like during it.
Green paint.
Just like go to the paint app on your little phone or your like Windows 94 thing. Go to paint and just change his fur.
Oh, the color picker.
Yeah, and you just change his fur to white. Like I don't understand why he looks so jaunty and like. I don't know. It was weird.
Unnatural.
And like the dragons look, well, here's the thing. They're used to doing dragons, which don't naturally move, so they can make it whatever the fuck they want. When they have to copy something that actually moves,
That's what,
good luck.
I just feel like
You got another $2 million for a fucking stag.
they should have just gotten one and then just painted them.
They're good at scales, not fur. We've learned that by the direwolves disappearing.
But I feel like they could have gone on like
That just was
TikTok
not a thing.
or like Snapchat and just taken a picture of him and done like a color filter, and he would have looked great.
Release a deer, watch it run, film it.
Yeah, and then
just with the Snapchat.
that's what I'm saying. Just use a filter.
You release a deer, it's probably gonna run away.
Use your iPhone terrible and do the thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Any other thoughts on these?
Nope.
All right.
No, I did like the Lannisters brothers looking at him like they're both like, damn. Okay, well, fuck, we can't handle that shit.
The Strong brothers did too. They had some,
they were impressed. The Lannister brothers were almost on a disgust level, like they were almost prissy about it.
Ew.
They were like, yeah, kind of like an ew. But the Strong brothers were like, damn, okay.
I would kick her out of bed for eating crackers. That they had.
That's what the Lannisters were saying. Oh man, go for it, Benj.
All right. So the next one is the hand gives counsel to the queen of a path of family.
Right.
The queen speaks to the king about his daughter and his brother's need of help.
Mm-hmm.
The king advises the princess on his choice to give aid and her the freedom to choose. So this is kind of a bang bang 4-part little thing.
Glendulum, take it away.
Glendulum the pendulum. Okay. Hold on. Let me.
Please wait. Glenn is loading.
Loading.
So I think this is summed up by it's all about
2002 Napster.
The he said, she said bullshit. Right now it's a lot of talk. There's not a lot going on. Like as far as like a Game of like, not a lot of like dramas. Like I think once it'll get a little bit more spicy once the king perishes, if that makes sense.
His pears are spicy. Sorry.
No, but like nobody's gonna do anything or whatever because of
Yeah.
the king's still alive. But once he go, like I think that's when it's gonna get more dramatic, and it's just a lot of politicking and stuff like that, which is kind of boring.
Yeah, it really it is a lot of back and forth of like we're just assuming Viserys could die at any second, right? Like they're really laying that on thick of like we have to get this air thing
down.
really buttoned down. We got to get this thing welded
Squared
airtight. And he's like we've seen him every time he's like what's the question here? I know we're not really talking about him necessarily in this moment, but everyone around him including Rhaenyra is like what's going to happen? Like
Right.
I don't trust what has been said. And it just kind of sucks.
I feel like he's like, I have already said it 1,000 times. I already told you what I would like. My wishes were very true when you bowed and said, yes, I will follow you. My loyalty is to you. Why are we still speaking about this? The rest of you can fuck off. Right? Off. Like, that's, I think he's just fucking done with it. And he doesn't feel like he has to.
He doesn't see the upcoming betrayal.
Yeah, I mean, he's not looking at that being an option. He's trusting in the people around him to listen to what he's said, right? And at the same time, he's not doing anything. I've said this multiple times in the last couple of episodes. He's not doing anything to bring Rhaenyra aboard to make it look like she's given like more than just the title by name.
Yeah.
Like she's not giving her any real action to show that, like, like I'm specifically grooming you to be able to do this and have everyone believe that you can do it.
He's not even helping her believe
Absolutely.
she can.
Absolutely.
And he's not helping her.
It's not good for anybody.
And then, like,
literally not good for anybody.
On top of that, you have the pressures of, let's say, like Otto Hightower, like his older brother's like, he's going to be the king or whatever. Like, well, I think Otto says, like, well, I think this is the beginning of the episode or whatever. Like, well, he's like, Rhaenyra's the heir. Like, well, you need to work on that. You know?
Right.
And I think it's that pressure too of like, well, now Otto has an allegiance to his family to like increase their gain or whatever, and it just all comes full circle because they're all trying to get to the same thing or whatever, but really until he dies, like we're not going to see anything.
And Otto's intentions are pretty damn clear, right? He's like, the road is uncertain how we're getting there, but the end is clear. I mean, there's no doubt in his mind that Rhaenyra is not going to be queen now that there's a son. Now that there's a son, there's no chance in Otto's mind, just because there's precedent for that being the case. And so, by law, if you will, by the understood precedent that was set, there's no chance anymore. Like, what's the question? The only question right now is Viserys over and over says, no, that's who I picked. That's what it is. Why would I change that? But it goes back and forth. And we're going to keep meandering on this conversation, I know,
I have so
over
many
time.
thoughts on this, but all you did when you two just started this conversation, all I got, Benj, and you got to back me up here, is drip, 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 drip. Don't ever stop. He got it. It's good.
No, he got it.
It's the pressure.
Wow, look at him. He got.
He does. He got it. He knows. They were like, "Oh, it's so much pressure." Blah blah blah. Pressure. So you just go pop. Give it to your sister. Your sister's older.
Stronger. Never
Anyway,
gonna
sorry.
be any longer. Anyway, yeah.
Yep. Sorry, Bench. I had to do it with you because these two are looking at me
Appreciate
exactly as I thought they would.
Yep. That's it.
Classic.
I was like, "Where's your
Drink, inside joke. There
It's
you
not
go.
everybody in the
Drink,
chat
drink.
fucking gets it.
A
Like
drink for not getting a fucking dumb reference or whatever it is.
some
Hey,
dumb reference.
I gotta
That's
go.
all that-
I love
that's
you,
all
but
that
I gotta go.
Good luck staying out of the way in New York City.
Anyway, so I think the big takeaway from this scene over everything is Viserys sitting down, looking Rhaenyra in the face, again telling her, I picked you. Pick me, choose me, love me. He did. He picked you, and now you have to pick your own. He's like, I'm not going to pick. He's like, you have to pick. You have to find someone because you have to shore it up. You have to figure it the fuck out. But you get a pick. And that's a huge thing for her because she has a mix of Arya and Dany and all that, mentality of very independent woman, kind of thing. And so that's going to be telling what happens down the line. What, Luke?
JD's backing me up. No one knows what the fuck you guys are talking
I
about.
really would like to type it in, but I'm not really sure, so I'm going to try Encanto.
Oh, that dumb movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why I don't know it.
It's
Yes.
a dumb movie, but that's a great
No, it's a
song.
great
Dumb
song.
movie, but great song.
No, it's not a dumb movie.
Great
It's
song.
great. It's awesome.
It's
Anyways,
great song.
So
It exists.
no, it's both good and good. But my
Not only is it good, it's also good.
it's good. And good. Look, fuck you. God damn you. I had shit to say.
I'll mute you. Here you go.
Cool. All right, I'm good. So, anyways, my thought on this is Rhaenyra gets to pick, and she's going to be excited about that, right? Like, I have some forward thinking. This conversation of Rhaenyra being like, you are it. You are still it. You have always been it. Sure, I wavered, but like, I am backing you. Should have happened 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, a year and a half. Like,
I mean,
there should be
it did when he named her.
we don't know. We haven't seen it.
But in his head, he's like, it's never changed. Like you said, like he's like, I made this choice. It never changed. So to him, it never fucking changed that she was the choice. But he didn't realize to her that it had.
Yes, and like the other thing is like she's feeling all the pressure and the eyes and the insidious thoughts from everybody else coming at them, but she doesn't have her dad saying this. So like this conversation should have happened immediately and then continued. Like that's how it should have been done. It wasn't, and that's great. But what I think is really funny is she gets to pick because Alicent says, hey, she should pick. And when he hears that, he's like, hey, you're right. We do need to convince her that it is her choice. Really smart, Alicent. Great idea. So what I'm going to do is send some help so the dude I want her to marry doesn't fucking die. This is all really good that she is going to choose this all on her own. This is like a master plan that I don't really know if it's going to work out, but hey, it's a good pitch. Like, it's good.
I think unless anyone else says any more, there's kind of one more piece of this set of scenes that I don't think we've touched on that I think is kind of important, and it's, you know, the conversation between Alicent and Viserys, where they talk about the war that's going on, and she's kind of like, you can't really ignore this anymore, right? And she's like, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but like you should kind of think about this, right? I mean, Glenn, any thoughts on what she has going there? No,
as far as the war,
yeah, just like her, about just bringing up what her brother's rebellion or that fight that he has going on the Stepstones, because he's been actively ignoring this for 3 years, right?
He has, and like even when Thailand Lannister came up to him, like, stepping stones are in peril or whatever, however he put it or whatever. I'm paraphrasing.
I'm parasailing. I'm sorry.
I'm parasailing.
Ricky.
But yeah, like, and I think it's like one of those like where it goes back to his stubbornness and his like, people tell him this is what you have to give a shit about, and he's like, no, fuck you. Like, I just want to do like that's it's not a today thing, you know.
Right.
You know, on the weekend we can you know delve into that. But I think hearing it from her, and I think that's maybe their relationship has kind of grown where he trusts her a lot
In a private moment too, where
where
this is a decent spot to like
I
have
don't
this
think
quick
Allison's
combo.
gonna like bullshit you know, like say what you want to hear. I think she more or less
Let the word
says
Ignore them.
what's on her mind, you know, because I think she cares. Yeah,
I do too, and I like that she's kind of bringing it to his. You know, I know you don't want to go and help him because it's kind of like you losing the fight against your brother. But right now we're losing a bigger thing potentially. Like, what's more important, this spat between you and your brother and what that looks like, or like what's legitimately going on with, like, this could turn into a big issue. I like how she kind of gets him in a safe space to talk about it when he's already been frustrated, but she does a good job of easing into it, I thought, to have a valuable conversation.
You know what my favorite part about all of this is?
I don't, Abby. Could you
So
please
my
let us
favorite
know?
part about all of this is what I was alluding to earlier. Like,
Right.
I feel like I have to dislike Alicent because I like Rhaenyra. Like,
Right.
they
There's
are
a direct competition,
Yes.
adversaries.
Yes. And that was
You have
what
to
I was
pick a
going to use,
side.
but anyways, so they are at each other, and I feel like I have great affection and affinity to Rhaenyra, so therefore the show is setting me up to be against Alicent. But right here, what I love is directly before this scene, she is counseled by her father, like, you need to convince him that your son is there because the only person that's being betrayed here, because there's a precedent that all boys get blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Which I do understand that he will be the first boy to be slighted, and that's hard. That sucks when that happens to you. However, when she goes in there, oh boy, children yelling. When she goes in there, not once is there any type of talk about her son or her, like,
Claimant.
no, exactly. Like, I really don't know how I feel about Alicent because I feel like she's too good to be true. Like, I'm waiting for the fallout. I'm waiting for I don't know what her motives are. Like, what is her motive? She's banging her best friend's dad.
Not by her choice.
But, and I get that, but it
Same.
kind of is.
We have evidence,
But not by
too, that
her.
they've-
But not
they
by
have
her.
banged
You don't think so? Her
But not
going.
by her.
one kid and then one on
like,
the way.
She never. We've never seen her.
We will
be
never-
against the idea.
and
Let's not
no,
unwrap this ball of
no,
wax again.
okay,
We've spent
sorry,
2
but
episodes
yeah, no,
bickering
no,
on
no.
this in general.
But
That's fine.
I'm just saying, like,
Not
I
against
don't-
it. I could do it for hours, but
I don't know if her are just like, hey, Viserys, let me, like, be a true partner in life and help you, like, delve through these, like, trials and tribulations, or if she is trying to put herself in the best seat but is very intelligent, knowing my best seat might not be my son on the throne, because if I fight for that, he's gonna push back because I understand him. So what I'm gonna do is be kind, so I don't know, like, I don't know what her motives are, but she is very, very, like, let's cut through the feelings and I should do this, or this makes me bigger and better. And she's like, what is the heart of the issue? You want her to marry. This is how we get that done. You need this from your brother. This is what's going on. Okay, sure, there's some contention. What is the correct thing to do here? And she just cuts through the bullshit, kind of, in a way that he respects, because I think Viserys is so sick of being told, like, oh, well, I've considered fucking everything. And because he's constantly considering everything, she's like, okay, so what do you want? Then let's do it. Like, I like her. I just think she's pretty incredible. And not one mention of her son and his seat and where he stands.
I think a lot of people are just throwing her as she's a Marjorie Tyrell character.
That's how I felt about her very
And I
much
think-
at first.
I think there are things that you could look at that would say that. I don't think there's been much on screen specifically, without kind of understanding where things are going, to really specifically say that. That's just how I feel. You can't tell me how to
Agree.
feel.
As a guy
Feelings
who-
are neither
who knows the-
right
who-
nor
as a guy
wrong.
who
Get
knows
your
the story-
dialogue book out.
But damn it, Abby, you stole my joke, because I was
Sorry.
gonna say cheers to the original medieval dialogue. Dialogue section.
That's it.
but,
I'm sorry. I didn't
What,
mean to
what
steal
in the
it.
medieval equivalent of tarnation is going on here?
Get your quill and parchment. Where's our quills?
I'm only
uh,
drawing pictures, though, right, Mom?
Right. So no, but what I was gonna say is, as a guy who's only watching the show, I know the stories of the book. I know, like, the main chunks of it and where things lead and everything like that. But I don't know the ins and outs and all that kind of stuff. I like Alicent. I'm not looking at her right now as a conniving, underhanded, snake in the grass, kind of trying to get her way. It may change. I don't know. From what I've heard
She's
from other things, it may
Playing the
change.
long game, if it is. Like, the
But-
real long game.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's one of those of, because we're not spoiler, we're pretty much the only one that's read the whole thing is Luke, so we're not, getting into spoilers, more into
First
speculations. And,
time watchers
Luke.
on the
Here, there.
wall.
yeah,
To
here,
the
there's, and
window.
everything like that.
To the
But
wall.
Allison, at least what the show's doing is they may be taking out some of her coldness or whatever that's in the books or anything. They're making it so she's more likable as a character, kind of like a Tyrion style thing, where in the later seasons where Tyrion in the books is a dick. He's a complete fucking asshole in the beginning of book 5, but they completely whitewash him and do that. That may be what they're doing to Alicent early on, whitewashing her, and she turns into something else. But right now, as a show watcher, pretty much only, I enjoy the character. I enjoy Rhaenyra's character. I enjoy all of them. I see their flaws on all sides. Like, to me, Alicent almost seems a little too naive at times. At least she felt at times like the original. Like
Alicent,
she looks naive, but she doesn't act naive. I should say that she looks naive, but doesn't act naive.
I think she's a bit wise. I think she's intelligent. I think she's wise, but I think she's naive and not. I don't think she's self-asserting.
I don't think she's...
the way she's being played on everything we've seen on screen, I don't think she is putting herself in that position. She's just dealing with it.
Yes.
She's dealing with it well.
And it has pressure from her dad telling her to do these things.
Here comes the hate from the chat.
No,
for Luke's
it's
thoughts.
okay. No, but I do kind of agree with that. Like I feel like
Luke
she is...
sucks.
I'm going to use the word... Fuck you.
Sorry.
I'm gonna pee. Oh boy. Okay.
I ate. You made me ink.
You made me ink. That's what I'm gonna say from now on. That's funny. But I do feel like I'm gonna use the word accommodating. Like
Sure.
She's accommodating these people, and it's a very hard position because, like, you truly just want people to be fucking happy. Like, and that's
she
not
wants Rhaenyra to be really happy.
that is why she is acting towards Rhaenyra the way she is, and she's like, Rhaenyra, why can't?
Like, I don't want it to be this way.
And Rhaenyra's like, but it is.
But it is.
And they're just cut from different cloth. Like,
thanks, Phil. I know.
But like, they're just cut from different cloth, and it's hard for her to understand. Like, how do you just cut that out, or like, how do you just cut that off? Because she would never. She is still trying to at least appease her father, like make him think like, yes, I am speaking to, okay, Dad. Yes, absolutely. And then she goes to the king and she's like, what do you need? Absolutely. How do we fix that? Rhaenyra, it doesn't have to, I'm going to be as kind as I can. Like, she's just so accommodating that I do feel like there is a possibility she's going to be off with her own head. That's where
I'm going to slightly cut you short here because we'll meander for hours on this because I think it's a contentious thing.
One last thought. There's a Lannister who sounds just like the way he speaks is like why I'm going to say Tywin, and that's not who I mean.
His brother, Kevin?
Thailand?
No.
A different Lannister?
I don't want to use the word that I'm going to use.
Kevin McLannister?
Tywin's son.
Oh, Jaime?
Not Jaime, the other one.
Tyrion.
There we go. I just couldn't come up with Tyrion. I'm sorry,
Short
guys.
man, half man, half man.
I didn't want to be like...
Dwarfstone.
Okay,
Wait,
I
that's our next
feel like
one.
one of them absolutely sounds just like him.
Could
This
be.
would probably be Thailand.
I think it's Jason.
You think it's Jason?
They're from
So
the
is one of
same
them
town.
American? Like, is one of
They've
them
had
American?
beers
No,
together.
I think it's
doing a-
Jason. The way he speaks, like, especially when he's being smarmy, is like when Tyrion is like, oh, yes, you could do that.
I bet they've, because they all have regional dialects, and some
Right.
of them are just based off of, like,
And
the
I think-
Reach will be based off of what
Right.
Natalie Dormer
think-
did to some extent.
Correct me if I'm wrong though. Like the Lannisters kind of think their shit doesn't stink. That's kind of like what they kind of just like.
And that's how Tyrion was.
It was
I'm
very-
the best.
It's
you're the
almost
worst.
mid-Atlantic, like preppy, like
it was
non-
absolutely in my mind. I was like, oh my God, that sounds like him.
Good point, Glenn.
yeah.
That you got cut off saying.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We apologize,
it's my fault.
Glenn.
What else is new? Hogan's apologizing to Glenn for cutting him off.
Glenn, take it over.
Any final thoughts
I wish
before
I
we?
could.
I wish I could before you got cut off.
Do you want to finish your statement?
Yes, please do. I
Oh.
want to hear it.
I don't remember what I was saying.
Cool. Good call.
No, basically.
Every,
No, go.
no,
Stop
no,
it.
you go. I'll mute myself. Every episode we have a final scene, and this episode is no exception. Ben, tell us what happened. Cheers.
On Dwarfstone, the Valerians discuss their imminent defeat. Word from the king arrives. Daemon goes on a hams mission.
Ham's mission.
He's out of beer, needs some hams.
Ooh,
Sacrificial hams.
sacrificial
Some
hams.
sacrificial hams.
Oh, that was a fun time.
So let's start on because I think Luke. Sorry, don't mean to.
No,
interrupt.
you're good. Go for it. Yeah, I think you're right.
I
Though.
was gonna say, let's
starting
start-
with the
let's start-
Valarians, kind of talking
Yeah,
about
starting there.
Daemon, right?
Yes.
And I see that no one really has a note on that, so I think it's worth just kind of discussing it open-endedly. Of Uncle Valarian, I can't remember what his name was specifically, but
Vale or
Vaymond or something.
Wayland or Valand.
I'm gonna go with Vyman. It's probably Vyman. I don't know.
I think
But
it's Valen.
Valen,
Slippy.
Corliss's
Slappin',
brother.
Samsonite?
basically Samsonite.
Samsonite.
He's
Valerian.
basically saying like, guys, we got to do something about Daemon, right? Like this is not working out. Like we have to go in and do something.
It's
Like
not kosher.
this is not working out. And he has a real problem as Daemon lands, and he's kind of bickering and Laenor Valerian, Corliss's son, kind of sticks up. He's like, "What? Who's gonna fucking go and do this suicide mission? Who's gonna draw them out?" And he's like, "Send Daemon. He's kind of fucking this up for us."
Not to cut you off, but at this point,
Do it.
this has been like what 3 years we said.
Yep.
And we kind of get the gist that they're kind of losing, and this is like they're kind of getting their ass kicked at this Stepstones front.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a hot gates situation for 300, right? Like they have the narrow passage where you can't fight into it very well, and having a dragon's great, but it's not solving the issue of the cave.
Yeah, you can get elephants in here, and you can get Xerxes in here, but
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's not going well, and so Daemon lands, and he's like, "The fuck's up, guys?" And right then, in that kind of conversation, little messenger boy shows up with a note for Daemon. Abby, what's the note say?
It says, "Hey, I'm
Hey,
coming to help
guy.
you out. I'm sending some."
Hi, I'm King
Forces.
Viserys.
And guess what, brother? I just don't want you to pitter patter and fall over here and not do what you need
I
to
killed
do.
a stag too.
And I killed a stag.
Don't forget about
And
my stag.
I'm gonna send some troops, and I'm gonna send a dragon and a dragon rider that is never named, and so that's cool. And he's gonna come help you. And Daemon is not having it. He's not happy about it.
They always say
If he was a hockey player, they'd say, he took exception to that.
he took exception to that.
That's what I feel like. That we took exception to that.
Pretty fair. And he really takes it out of the messenger, doesn't he? He beats the shit out of that guy.
Yeah. I think at the same he doesn't give a shit about this war, but he just doesn't want so they're like, oh, we're gonna send aid to you. He doesn't want that. He just wants to have the glory and go back to his brother and be like, hey, I kicked all this ass or whatever, and didn't need any help.
We don't really.
Fuck you.
We don't really know what he was thinking because very well done. Doesn't say a fucking word.
I think
The
he's
entire
mad.
scene.
So I took it as he was mad that somebody wrote, or there was at least some type of.
I'm not for writing. I'm not for reading.
I agree.
Down with
But-
phonics.
I came
Fuck
here
you,
to lead,
phonics.
not to read.
Yes, fuck you, phonics. But I feel like how I understood it, and I'm not saying I'm right, but I took it as he was mad that it was apparent to him that somebody wrote for the requested backup. And that might be wrong. But I thought that's why he was angry.
And I think when he started this campaign, I'm sure he was thinking I am going to just kill the crab feeder, end of story. All right.
Yeah.
I go in, crab feeder, dead. We're done. And it's been
Toasted crab
3
cakes.
years. Nothing's happened. Really.
I think we can pretty easily surmise what he's thinking when he beats the crap out of that guy and flies off. He is pissed that the king is coming to take away his opportunity for glory. I think Glenn is. I'm exactly with you on that. He is pissed that
I didn't take it
Big
that way,
Brother
but that's
has
okay.
to come and save the day because I'm not good enough.
How does that make me look? Like I was doing just fine.
And both, so like neither of them want. Viserys never wanted to come and help because it makes him look weak. Because I had to go and squash this rebellion to
I
help or
said
whatever.
no, you know.
But at the same time, Daemon doesn't want him there because he wants to do it myself. I want to
Hey.
prove to older brother that I should be your fucking heir.
Those
Like
should
I
be
am
my
the
words.
best in the land, and I'm good enough. I'm strong enough. And gosh darn it, people don't
My
like
wife
me
might-
yet, but they might like me after
My gold
this.
cloaks like me. Gosh darn it, my gold cloaks like me.
I
So
can do it.
that's 100%
myself.
what I thought it was. And then he just takes off. He's like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to finish this now or die trying.
I can't lie. These next
Yeah.
couple minutes here, I am very confused because I only watched. I mean, I watched this show multiple times or whatever. This episode, I should say, and I only watched a couple. Hey, this is what we thought about it, and they were going into things that I just did not get. And I'm not saying that they're. I mean, I believe they're probably absolutely right, but as just a show watcher watching first time through, I was like, how do we make that jump?
In the Valerian conversation, before he takes off?
I mean, yes, all this whole entire final scene right here was very. Can I use the word convoluted? Does that? I don't know what that actually means. It was
No,
very.
It means
Sure, if you
confusing.
don't know what it means, then that's what
Yeah,
it means.
that's what I'm saying.
My thoughts on it are
thought was very
convoluted.
I'm not sure
convoluted.
it's convoluted. I was just. It didn't seem to track straightforward, where a lot
It
of
was
the,
very much show you, not tell you, as I'm going to bring up again. It was, this is what's happening. You can figure out why this
you
is
were
happening.
asked to surmise a lot of things, and I feel like within your
Yes.
own interpretation, and I feel like my process or train of thought is not exactly. I don't know.
You're not filling in the blanks as easily as they're asking you to,
Yes,
is what you feel like.
And that's probably on me, and that's okay. So thank you for the other creators out there that are like, hey, Abby, you're going to want to look at 37.543467 scene, and this is what's, and I'm like,
Hey, Abby,
oh,
we just caught this big wave. You
Yeah.
can look at this scene
that's
here.
right. Check it out.
Surf's up.
But and maybe that just is on me,
What are you, Babe Ruth?
whatever. But there was some things here that I just was not putting together, and later on, obviously, through some help, was able to be like, oh. So maybe I need to read the book.
So Daemon takes off,
Yes.
starts this fight. Glenn, it looks like you have kind of an overarching thought on going through the fight here.
Oh, sure. I think I'm somewhat disappointed with the kind of the lack of dialogue with the Crabster. We don't see a lot of battles. We don't get a lot of, personality other than him, just throwing crabs at people and stuff like that.
Crab. Hot crab.
Krabby Patties.
Lambert's. Hot crab.
Hot crab with home of the throat crab.
So you didn't like how little dialogue there was with the crab
But
feeder?
at the same time, not a lot of dialogue with him. And then the Valerian that they're losing, we don't see really anything outside of earlier whenever Daemon came in on the dragon and was talking, trying to find the crab feeder or whatever. And he's like, "Come to me,
Dreyhawk.
Prince Dreyhawk."
Dreyhawk. Come on out. Come on
That
out
was
with
his
your
only line
hands
the
up.
entire episode.
Right.
That was his only line. Just one thing. I'll feed you to your own crabs.
But I
That was
mean,
it.
I think whenever he goes on this go for broke mission or whatever to where he goes out, puts out the white flag, I think that was kind of cool. But then at the same time, then he finally finds out, oh, crab feeder, he retrieved to this fucking cave, and then he goes and we don't see any battle. It's very reminiscent of some of those other battle in Game of Thrones.
Brienne with Stannis. You see the sword
Oh, yeah.
swing, but not the actual death.
Right.
kind of
and
thing.
like you just kind of like they just kind of cut to like the before, and then all of a sudden after the battle, and then he comes out with the half of a crab feed, or
Just the
Yeah, so I think my favorite part of this scene is, and I don't know if it's my favorite because it's kind of a dirty move, right? This is a bit of like a fake punt Hail Mary that Damon pulls, lands, gets over there, tears the white cloak off the one guy, makes a surrender flag. It's really cutthroat moment, right? It's very much not really an honorable thing to do of start fighting. As soon as you are showing surrender, that's absolutely dishonorable.
That's dirty pool.
It is very dirty pool. He is playing with house
fair.
money and he knows it. But that's dirty pool.
Shout out to Bingo.
It's basically
Long for
Pat.
doing-
It's basically
Third
Pat
place.
McAfee grabbing the punt and sprinting past the entire fucking defense.
No, he's
like
the
with-
one. He's the fake punter that's throwing.
I don't
He's
like
throwing himself.
the white flag thing. Like
But
the white flag, yeah, we're giving up. Like you guys won.
It's
Yeah.
very cutthroat.
Oh no, actually, that's not the case. Like we're gonna attack.
But then he does go for broke. I mean, this is his Hail Mary. I'm gonna go until there's nothing left to go for. Right? It's either I'm dead or everyone here is.
I like the memes of they show like him with a check mark, and then like who that Stark, Rickon Stark was it?
Yep.
And like can zigzag, cannot zigzag.
well, I was gonna say that those archers definitely went to the stormtrooper school of shooting. Everyone just kind of missed except for like two. It was like
He did do some.
he did take a
dip,
couple.
dodged up, dick diving in.
And then
Digging.
something I watched
It's
or whatever. And
digging.
I can't remember what it was, but they're saying that basically, whenever he gets like shot, one of the dragons like kind of leeches out or whatever, and gives out a big roar.
Right, like where
Where-
he's kind of like, I'm surrounded. I'm
And then-
fucked. Right, I'm fucked. So I'm fucked.
Well, it's kind of one of the like the dragon binder or whatever. Where you're bound to that dragon,
Mhm.
kind of like that Rick and Morty episode.
We go for a soul bond,
A soul,
which is Davos.
whenever- yeah.
The voice of Davos.
like
doing it.
basically whenever like
Was it really?
Absolutely.
whenever
Yeah.
he gets like
I don't-
hurt, the dragon feels it, and when the dragon gets hurt, like he can feel that or whatever.
Watch
Yeah.
that episode. It's so funny.
Shadowjacker.
Now
You
that I
haven't come
know
out of
that,
your
I've seen the
masturbation cave in
episode.
eons.
I finally thought it was time to cut on my cum cocoon. Anyway, oh man. So yeah, Caraxes kind of saves him in that point, and then yeah, Glenn mentioned one of the grisliest things we've seen in this series.
That was not Caraxes that saved him. That was Sea
Shit.
Smoke.
Shadow
That was-
something.
Sure.
Shadowjacker.
Star something. Shadow.
No, it was Sea Smoke.
Sea
It was Sea
Smoke.
Smoke
Sorry, yes.
Sea
flown
smoke.
by
Shadowjacker.
Lenore.
I should have.
Lenore.
No, who flew it? Because
Uh,
that's not clear either. Like
Lenore Valerian.
who?
Lenore Valerian. Corlys's
Corlys's son.
son.
So how,
also
I
a
don't
Targaryen
fucking
blood.
Understand, but okay.
No, well,
Like,
well
His mom.
Rhaenys
Okay.
is-
His
Rhaenys
Rhaenys
is his mom.
son.
Yes.
Yes. So
Okay,
he's got
sorry,
Targaryen
Benji.
blood.
Rhaenyra's
Oh.
first cousin,
Benji's really quiet in my ears.
not
But-
first cousin.
Oh,
But no, you're fine. I think you're
Apologize.
fine on the thing. It's just my ears for you are quiet.
Gotcha.
I don't know. My ears
No, that's
for
fine.
you are
Hey.
quiet. But
so that was the first like a lot of like Reddit thread. I was watching the live chat. They're like, "How the hell does he?" And it's like because he's Valerian blood. He's Targaryen
Yes.
blood, but
Mhm.
also the Valerians were dragon riders at times
Nope.
too.
but hold on, wait.
Nope.
Back in Valeria,
Nope.
So this is
Nope.
Cor-
Okay,
this
then-
is
sorry.
Corlys's
Okay, fine. So-
son.
Just
this is Corlys's son.
Corlys and
Corlys.
Rhaenys.
Corlys and Rhaenys' son is the one riding this dragon.
Yes.
Is it the same one
Correct.
who is pissed off at the
Yes.
council?
At the
No,
council.
that was Wayland or Valand.
That was
Valen
that
was
was
pissed off.
Corlys's brother.
Corlys's brother.
Corlys's
Okay,
yeah,
that's where I'm
brother
like, I
was pissed
don't.
off.
Yeah,
I-
his
Lenore
son
was
was the
the
one that
voice of
defended
reason.
Daemon a little bit and was like,
Yep.
"Who's gonna go over
Okay.
there? Why should they?" Yeah,
Okay,
he was in that scene as well.
but that's like how I feel.
Brother of Lenora, who Viserys decided not to marry.
That's
earlier.
okay. Like I just didn't know exactly who this dragon rider was. Not that, and I
Didn't show it well. The visuals, like,
and
it was hard to tell.
it was hard to tell who he
You
was.
didn't
And then
know.
I'm like, wait, is this just like? I know we have like what did we say? 10 dragons that they say are going to be in the show, and I'm like, are there just like 10 dragon riders, and we only know like 3? That like are they? I don't know. It's just
At this
very
point, yes.
confusing to me because it's not being said, but I feel as lost as I was at the beginning of Game of Thrones, which is fine, and I'm okay. I know I'll learn, and it's fine. Can I tell you what I thought about this scene?
Please do.
Sure.
Again, let's go on the confusing things. I didn't know that the arrows were not. I thought they were trying to hit the crab feeder people. Like when they're like, "Oh, I didn't know whose side any of these colors were on." Like the guys up top. At first, I was like, "Oh my god, they have set up this trap, so he's gonna surrender." I thought that for a few seconds that it was Daemon's guys doing an ambush at the beginning.
Oh.
And I was so
I
confused.
took it as he just took off and like went rogue
No,
and
that's
did
what
this
it
all
was.
on his own without
because
them.
again,
No, but
I feel like it was so
Until you saw
confusing.
the Valerians.
But I guess that's war.
I can see that.
I guess that's battle. Like,
Yeah.
The one thing to add you have to keep in mind is the opening scene. And sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
you're fine.
keep in the opening scene when Daemon shows up on the dragon, he's basically pushed back by all the archers on the cliff sides,
Yeah, I
fucking
guess.
nailing him. So like that was you had to remember that
Yeah, it's
for
bringing
this
that.
scene. Now you have all these
but-
archers
I
that
get-
he has to deal with too.
I get what she's saying though, because I was trained throughout my youth that when you playing with army men, there was a side that was green,
Yes.
and then there was a sign that was gray,
Gray. Absolutely.
and they fought against each other. You knew
We had-
who was on what scene.
You could also
like
have navy blue and tan ones. That was
I was
You
gonna say we had the tan
could.
one.
But I think we had the navy blue and tan in this situation, and
We
I
had
didn't know if
tan and
tan
green.
went with gray or if navy blue
Yeah, you
went
guys
with.
trying to match.
I'm
or-
not sure. I'm not sure. So that was confusing. And then my other thought was like, it was a good scene. It was fine. But Daemon surrenders, and there are at least how many people surrounding him, and they let
A number of them.
we have been 3 years at war, and we have not learned how to effectively let somebody surrender. Are you kidding me? Show me your hands. Lay on your stomach. Knees to your back. Hand this.
knees to your back.
Feet to your back. Sorry. Yep. Back it up. Like to hog
Cross
tie
ankles,
him.
put 'em on your butt.
Well, I think
Right? Like
Cross
I
ankles,
just
put 'em
don't
on your butt.
understand
at
how.
the same, I think we see the crab feeder too, and he hears like I think that he like knows something's up
He does. Yeah. He does not seem convinced.
because he
Does
does
he?
not. He's just kind of like,
Mm-mm.
what is going on here?
He
You know,
really
I
needs
hear
some lotion on his neck.
Yeah, I hear something. I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't talk. But
And can I speak on like the very final thing we kind of see?
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
Yeah.
I want to know how he hacked through half his body.
Valerian steel.
Ooh,
He's got,
okay.
he's got a very important sword.
Does he have Dark Sister? Did I say that in the first episode? That I did not realize that Dark Sister was ever anybody's except for whoever Arya said it was, the sister who rode correct. Who did she ride?
Meraxes.
Meraxes. Yes, I was like, no, it's not Caraxes because
Visenya.
he went
yes.
he actually went on the set of 2.5 Men,
It only got the half.
and he was a half man.
And that was the half.
I'm so happy.
Half man. Half man.
I'm so happy there's an answer for that because, like, I literally was like, the amount of strength it would take.
And that was the one he walked out there and was holding like this. I was like, really? You're going to offer up Dark Sister? Like,
Right.
I was like, because it looks
Ooh.
like, if you look for it, it's a cool looking sword
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, it was, that's a big reason why.
That's okay. No, I'm gonna stop with all of my thoughts on like, do you know how much force and pound pressure and blah 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 and like the saws that are needed to go through? Like, nope.
He went through a lot of the soft stuff.
Yeah,
Most
but
of
you
the
still
soft stuff.
you have a
I
whole
know.
lot of bone.
I know.
One
And
spine.
you are this way too. He is through some ribbage.
I think it's below the rib cage.
But that's okay. Anyways, all I'm saying is I love your answer. Thank you very much for it.
Sure.
Valyrian
If
steel.
it does make sense, just remember it's magic.
I just didn't like that we don't see like the battle between them.
You do or don't like that?
I don't like that.
You don't. You want to see it, them kind of fight it out?
Sure, and like we just don't get any personality. Like it seemed like it was kind of built up a little bit, and then
I see where
Nothing.
you're a little disappointed in the scene where it just comes down to he's been built up over 3 episodes of
Like-
being this big thing, and it really like it's kind of nothing. Like
yeah, it's a nothing
no-
burger.
It was
Right.
no
If I
hard
put in the
home.
burger in patty form,
in patty terms,
yeah,
yeah, I get it.
it's a nothing burger.
I speak patty mayonnaise.
Hey.
Pitaethan.
Any other thoughts on final scene? All right, so episode title accuracy, second of his name.
I mean, it's kind of the backdrop of what is going on.
Well, because
Go
I
ahead.
think it has like double meanings because second of his name, doesn't that have to do with Aegon or like the kid? Like it's his second name day, right?
Yeah, then he's Aegon the second.
And then there's Daemon, who's the second of his name, obviously, second
Is
son.
Daemon a second?
Well, second of his name usually comes down to king, royal naming wise.
Fair.
There has not been a king Daemon at this point,
Okay.
but it's like
Wait,
the
is
second
it-
son kind of thing.
Number 2.
Number
Gotcha.
2.
I'm number 1. Hi, I'm number 2.
I do
I'm
think
Bono.
a lot of the episode was hinging on the fact that Aemon, second of his name,
Second name
is
Hunting party.
in kind of the precipice that a lot of this
what
is
happened-
happening around.
What happened to that? Like, so nowadays,
Aemon,
whenever somebody
Did I
has
say Aegon?
You said
a bird-
Did I
amen.
say
He's an
Aemon?
Aemon.
I'm sorry, I did not mean that.
Sorry.
when somebody has a birthday party for their kid that's like 1 or 2 or whatever, it's mainly kind of based around them. Like everyone shows up,
This is all based around his dad.
but it's basically like a hunting chick.
Yeah.
Where's the smash cake?
Happy birthday! We're all going hunting.
Happy birthday! Have fun with
Where's
the
the
nurses.
smashed lemon cake?
Yeah, you're gonna be
Yeah.
like with the nurse. We're going hunting
Hang on a minute.
to celebrate your birthday.
Description accuracy: Daemon and the sea snake battle the crab feeder.
True.
We really only saw Daemon do anything against the crab feeder.
Whatever.
Corliss
Hey,
was around.
Well, no, he showed up at the end.
he did.
Mm,
And their
Him in
hair
the
is
army.
amazing. Like, they are some sexy looking dudes. Sorry. Like, those, oof,
The realm celebrates Aegon's second name day.
they sure do.
no, they don't.
At least the people in the Kingswood do. Not sure about the realm. Rhaenyra faces the prospect of marriage.
I think that's wrong.
I think she shuts down the
she's like,
prospects.
no.
she submits.
He nopes the fuck
She doesn't
out.
submit to it. She submits.
She is very, you probably have never seen this. It's my favorite Disney movie. Let's go back to Disney.
It's Disney.
Merida,
I know.
her and
Yeah.
Merida are
that's
very,
a great movie.
she's like, I will win my own hand. Bye.
Brave. That's a great movie.
It's my
Encanto,
favorite.
is that what you said?
Encanto's good. Brave is
And
the
now Glenn's
best.
muted.
Brave is the best.
No. So yeah, those things happen.
Yep.
All right. Favorite thing.
Or least
So-
favorite, right?
What was your favorite or least favorite thing? Abby, I will start with you.
My least favorite thing was just I felt things were very disjointed. For me personally, I don't think it sounds like other people did not feel so kind of like what just happened? I felt like this was not an easy obviously like we're 3 years past, whatever, but once we get into the Daemon scenes and the crab feeder stuff, I was struggling like
You said it was a little clunky.
it wasn't, yes, very streamlined for me to understand exactly what was going on. So that was my least favorite thing. I got there, it was good, but I just wish maybe I had a little more support or a little more help getting, so the whole time I wasn't questioning.
More hand holding for Gertie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I like hand holding.
Glendog, favorite or least favorite thing?
Least favorite thing was like the crab feeder stuff. I kind of went through it with
Prince Dreha.
Prince Dreha. Come here, Dreha. I want your Dreha. But no, I think they built that stuff up, and then like it was just kind of lame. The way like you just had no dialogue, and then you just got killed easily, and like it just seemed like a little
The build-up
kind of a
fell
cop-out,
flat.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Bench, favorite or least favorite thing?
So this might be a little bit of a cop out. My least favorite thing was this episode. Just compared to the other two, besides the crab feeder stuff and all that was interesting to see. It was cool visuals, decent little storytelling. The rest of it was like the rest of the 55 minutes of this episode could have been done in 3 scenes in about 12 minutes but they had to extend out every single thing to time fill and oh well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. No, that's 3 scenes. It's 12 to 15 minutes, and it was a filler episode. There wasn't even great exposition of, hey, this is going to set up for this later on, apart from maybe a couple hints here and there. But it
Well,
just,
I think the crab feeder stuff is done.
well, yeah, the crab feeder stuff's
guess.
done, but like that stuff to me was the neatest part because it was just cool visual battle scenes. But the whole episode itself was just, besides that, the whole party and hunting and all that, it was just boring. There was no build to anything that couldn't have been consolidated and just moved on from. And so, yeah, I'm gonna stick with pretty much the whole 50% or 80% of this episode is my least favorite thing.
I think that's very fair.
Okay. I think my least favorite thing is a thing that's by design by the show. I just hate seeing Viserys kind of just not getting shit done and being frustrated by it. Like we're supposed to feel that way, right? It's like he's a good guy, not a really great leader is what I'm getting to. It's tough to watch at times because they give all these opportunities to make things really great with a couple simple changes, very simple changes, and things can be great. But you're kind of picking the wrong battles, and you're trying to be accommodating for a lot of people. I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts about Viserys, and it's just rough to watch most of the time. And I really like the guy. Like I really like the character. It's just tough because I'm kind of a fan of him.
Me,
That's
agree
Hot
with
take,
by
Luke.
design.
Hot take, Luke. I think he would be a great master of coin.
He'd be great at a lot of things.
Like,
Not a
that's
king.
the thing, like,
no, I agree. He'd
no.
be great at a lot of things. Coin,
Not hand, not
Coin would be
king.
great.
I think he'd be fine at hand.
I think he'd be
Coin.
fine at hand. He would give a good.
Yeah, honestly,
he'd do
he's
good
not
hand
decisive.
jobs, and that would be
It's-
the fewer fingers. Hey, I don't know if
I don't
that's a
think it's
pro or a
that
con,
it's
but
he just isn't. I don't think it's not as decisive. It's that he sees things so clearly, and he's just like, I'm not gonna fight for this because how do you not? Whereas you need somebody as a hand, you could be like, whoa, we need to back off, but there's nothing to back off from him,
Back
or
off,
there's
jack
nothing.
off.
He's there you go, but he just. I don't want to be in charge. Like
yeah.
people
Yeah.
want to hate on people like that. He
So
would be better.
that's
suited
my
somewhere else.
least favorite thing is just seeing him struggle
I
and
like him
everything
too.
around it because I like him. All right, so this
Let's go.
is our Drawbridge Media channel. We have several shows. Hey, Glendog, can you tell somebody about our new Lord of the Rings show?
So it's called the podcast that is wandering and lusting.
Aw.
No,
Wanders and is
Wanders
lost.
and is lost. And it was on last night.
Yep.
And they talked about episodes 1 and 2. So check that one out. I think I heard somebody say something about Sunday night.
We are scheduled
Sunday.
Grave digger. No, but they're gonna be out. They're gonna be doing episode 3, which just dropped at 1
early,
a.m.
early in the wee hours of the morning.
Oh, did not drop on time.
Well, it's on
Well,
time. It's
no.
just it's a weird timing thing that they're doing.
So
Like it's 11 p.m. for us.
11 p.m. for
Anyway.
I think 9 p.m. Pacific time, which is where Amazon is based or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It whatever. I don't
So
know.
yeah, hopefully you can join us.
The true time zone. I'm so excited.
One true time zone.
I'm so excited to be here in this time zone. Sorry, just one
true
time in my life.
zone. Yeah, there you go.
Well,
Welcome back.
Thanks.
I'm glad you're here.
so anyways, not a lot of people saw it. I'm
The newest episode of
last
Rings
night.
of
I'm
Power.
sure they
episode
saw
3.
it tonight, but anyways, they're gonna be talking about that shit on Sunday.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys can join us again. Now let's start wrapping this up. You can learn more about all of those shows at thepodcast.com or right here on Drawbridge Media.
Sure.
House name, Abby.
I am Gertie of House Condescension.
House words,
We don't quit.
sigil.
It is a field of white with a raven sitting upon a black appointed chevron.
Personal Twitter.
I don't have.
Don't have one. Don't have time for that shit. Final thought.
I'm just thoroughly enjoying being confused about who to like and who's the bad guy. You'll never get me again, Game of Thrones. There will not be a microfinger deception. I'm gonna put my hat on House Strong. He seems solid and good. And where's Dougal Mackenzie?
Haven't seen him.
Man,
Haven't seen
Dougal.
him.
Dougal.
He was in
Hey,
episode
Dougal.
2.
Where Dougal?
Dick Dougal.
Where that dang Dougal?
Benji. House name.
Sly of House McLean.
House words.
It's dangerous to drink alone. Take
Sigil?
this. 3 black triangles on a red balloon.
Personal Twitter.
At Sly McLean, but I'm never there. So
Yeah, I know. None of us really use Twitter. In general, we
Yeah.
should probably just remove that.
yeah,
Uh,
that should
like
be.
I
TikTok,
do.
though.
I don't use it to like promote shit or interact.
Yeah.
You can
I
You
find
can find
me
me
on
on
like a news
Facebook.
outlet.
You can find me on Facebook at Campfire Nights, spelled with a K.
Hey, check out Campfire Night's TikTok.
There you go.
That's
That too.
another unsolicited advertisement for a band that
I
we all
stole
know
from
about.
Melissa from last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benj, final thought.
I don't hate the show. I hate the late Targaryens. These ones I don't mind. This episode very much threw a speed bump in my enjoyment of this series so far. I'm excited to see where it goes, but on a rewatch, this one's gonna get like a 2.5 to 3 times speed through because it's not needed for most of it. I could be proven wrong later on, but right now it's just there.
They might be sowing seeds. Glenn Dog.
My name is Glenn of House Doggo.
House Wordos.
We're running down a dream.
Terrible choice. Worst family house name change ever. House Sigil.
So it's ants marching,
One more.
red and black, antenna waving.
Personal Twitter. DMB fan. DMB Tom Petty fan.
Dave Matthews Band
You're
fan.
killing me.
37.
And final thought.
You know, it's your run of the mill episode 3 of the Game of Thrones, story about House of the Dragon.
All right.
You've seen this before.
We all saw this coming. I am Lucan of House Blackmead. Ours is the drink, or our family words, our chalice that's obsidian black on a golden blue checky background.
And what is
what's
the-
our sigil?
Only Twitter that is actually used here.
Not Luke Ferocious.
Sorry.
But
Where should we get you at, Luke?
Ferocious.
any of the show things.
The show.
Any of them, including at No One Drink, which we'll say here in a minute. My final thought. Thanks for asking. It's 100% Viserys' fault that Rhaenyra's claim is not set in stone. He only vows it sternly to her and doesn't bring her into the fold to show off her abilities or shore up that claim around the realm at all. 100% his fault. It sucks because I like him and I hate seeing him fail this way. Simple fixes would go a long way. So that's going to pretty much wrap up our episode. Again, you can help support our shows at patreon.com/stayimaginary. Not right this second you can't because we were suspended for some reason.
We're gonna
working
figure
on
it
that.
out.
We're going to figure it out. And so you can learn more about that in the reward tiers.
Make sure you wait a couple weeks and then
Yeah.
maybe you can.
Just keep hitting the refresh button until it's live. Other ways you can help support, keep our beer bank full is at thepodcast.com/support us. There are plenty of other ways that you can help, like using our Amazon affiliate links. That's a really simple thing that you don't pay anything extra. We get a kickback from Amazon for you buying the stuff you already want to buy.
Sure.
So that's kind of cool.
You can just steal all your friends' phones.
Steal all your friends' phones
Subscribe.
and then just make their Amazon link
Oh,
go
there you
to
go.
that link
See, this is a better idea. Yeah. good
on
idea.
everyone you've ever met's phone. Go to your kindergarten teacher's phone and do that. It would be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at No and Drink. Actually been using Instagram more often, to be honest. So
Wow.
there's that. Send us a digital raven at noanddrink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments here on YouTube at Drawbridge Media or on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe there too and give us a 5-star plus rating.
And also to our podcast listeners, don't forget to look us up on YouTube under Drawbridge Media
Oh, that's a good
because
idea.
that's not listed anywhere. So
Yeah.
we're under Drawbridge Media on YouTube, so you can join us for our live streams. When we're doing
New
this.
update today. iTunes has allowed you to create a channel within iTunes. So now if you use Apple Podcasts, you can search for Drawbridge Media Co. All of our shows
Oh,
show up in a
cool.
group, which is
there it is.
Perfect.
a big fan of that. So we
Drop.
got in all of
Boom.
the approvals for the new Wanders and His Lost show dropping. I was like, what's this button? What's
Yeah.
boop, 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 boop. Oh, that works. That's great.
That's awesome.
That's really
yeah.
cool. So I'm excited about that. So if you
Yeah.
are listening on a podcast, you can now, if you're using an Apple device, which God
the
love you,
best.
God love you, but you
Work
can
doesn't
go and
work
click on
disguise.
the creator name, and it will show you all of our published shows,
Mhm.
which makes me think I should put more of the Gets Lit episodes up there
Yeah,
because those have never
absolutely.
been released podcast wise.
Sure.
More
Should.
editing time. That's what I need.
Good.
But anyway, until next time.
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
As always, the Wolfpack. Don't turn your back on them.
Oh my goodness.
As well, always, I came, and Winter did too.
Oh God.
And as always, stay imaginary.